No worries. No
So
worries.
normally what I do is I just start it off and then we just go from there.
Okay.
How about how about you introduce yourself?
Okay. My name's Claydon, 28 years old. I live in Toronto, Etobicoke specifically. I'm currently studying commercial aviation.
Hey.
Yeah. I study commercial aviation, and I work for a courier company on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And my major interests include aviation, running, marathon training,
Yeah.
and hiking, and wine drinking, obviously.
Wine drinking.
Yeah, I love
So
wine.
I'm like a super noob when it comes to wine drinking. So anyone that doesn't know, me and Clay work together. Do you remember the first time we met?
Trying to think. I think it was somewhere on the road.
It was.
It was on the road.
It was on the road.
So what happened was, I think it was lost. I don't know where.
You were lost?
Yeah, I felt lost. I was looking for an address, and all of a sudden you stumble on the way, and yeah, we connected there, and we hit it off.
Yeah.
Ever since then, every day we see each other.
I remember I had the big truck back in the day. Remember the 900, like the huge truck?
Yeah.
And I was chilling somewhere. It wasn't like the route that I normally do. I was floating for someone else.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you came up down, what street was that? It wasn't Kennedy. It was west of Kennedy.
Oh, I do remember. It was a rainy day. It was super heavy.
What is that street?
It was like Kendary.
Kendary. Yeah, Kendary. Yeah.
It was a small little street. Yeah. Yeah, I remember it was.
That was the day, right?
Yeah, it was.
And I was like, yo, who is this guy?
I know. That was funny, man. It was a super rainy day. I don't know. I don't think I was even in a very good mood that day, but when I ran into you, it was like, you know what? It was nice to like talk to somebody that day. I don't even remember what I was really, I don't know, exasperated about.
Yeah.
But it was nice just running into you and just talking to you that day, and like, made my day a lot better, I would say.
I know. And you know what I really remember was the problem that I have at our company at work is whenever I talk to anyone, everyone is kind of like in that older generation.
Yeah.
So they're sort of like, because you're 28?
28.
So a lot of the guys we work with are like 45, 50, 55, 60, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I can never talk to these guys about like any of these side hobbies or interests that I have, like videography or podcasts, right? Or any of these other things like cryptocurrency. Like there's no way to open a conversation with those people, right? And I was like, so I just saw like the day job as something that I was just like, I just go in for the paycheck and it's like there's no one really cool. No one really cool to talk to.
Yeah, man.
Right? And also I'm like, yo, who's this young guy pulling up?
Out of Orchard on Kendary on a rainy day.
Yeah.
Man, it was a very cool coincidence, and here we are doing this, and it's really nice to be here.
Yeah. So first podcast ever.
It's my first podcast ever.
Yeah.
I've never done a podcast.
Never done it. But you listen to a lot of podcasts.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, Joe Rogan being one of them, and I listen to a bunch of culinary podcasts on...
Culinary? Like food?
Yeah, food.
Oh, okay.
And like I watch aviation related stuff on YouTube. So, there's this one guy I follow, Captain Joe. He flies like a 747. So he's a very cool cat that I follow on YouTube.
Wait, 747, that's the big...
The Boeing.
The big Boeing.
The Queen of the Skies.
Oh, okay.
The OG jumbo jet.
So you want to fly one of those?
It would be a cool dream come true, yeah. The 747 would be nice, but I wonder how much of those would be around them, because right now a lot of them are extinct. Because with a lot of airlines, they used to have them, like KLM being one of them. You'll probably see them out of Pearson, the big blue.
Yeah, the big ones, right?
The blue ones. Yeah, they don't come here no more. They gone to the scrapyard. I know, like British Airways being another airline, they used to have them. They're defunct. They used to fly them here also, and the only two airlines that I know of, well, three, Cathay Pacific being one of them. They bring their cargo on here, and Lufthansa and Korean Air.
Oh yeah, Lufthansa. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't bring their 747s here, but yeah, it'll be very cool. But
oh wow.
They're so original, man. Yeah.
Wait, when did the whole like interest in aviation start? Was this something that you always wanted to do as a kid? Like, do you always love planes, or was it something you just discovered?
It's a weird path for me because yes, I originally struck up on this interest when I was a young duckling. But no, I believe when I was 6 or 7, my dad would take myself, my brother, and my sister to air shows back in the Middle East in Dubai. That's where we grew up. So ever since then, I would always see these little objects flying and tumbling in the sky, like these little fighter jets. I remember seeing the Mirage. That's like a French fighter jet. It was so loud.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was just, I was so blown away by it. I remember the air show in 2003. They had the Airbus Beluga and the Airbus 340. Those were like newer models of the Airbus back then. And they would do all these really cool steep turns at like low altitude. Like you'd be standing by some sheikh's villa and you'd be watching the air show. It's like very cool. So that's where it all came for me. And
Okay, yeah.
then my family moved here. I went through high school, went to university. I actually studied architectural studies
Yeah.
at U of T. I graduated about 6 years ago now.
Damn, bro. So it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Life happens, man. And after that, I didn't really want to go into that field. So I decided, you know what, I can pursue my aviation interests as a hobby on the side. So around 2018, 3 years ago, I started flying in Montreal. I completed my private pilot's license there on a single engine. And I'm currently pursuing my commercial license here in Brampton, Caledon.
Oh, dang, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Wait, so the architecture. So this is like a scenario that I hear a lot from people. It's like this: they go into university or they go into college, they follow this path for a degree,
Yep.
and then for whatever reason they don't have a passion for it anymore. They don't pursue it. So when you went into architecture, was it just something you did because you needed to pick a study?
Partly yes and partly no. At the time, like in grade 12, I was just trying to figure out where I wanted to go. And at the time, I was very interested in like mathematics and
Yeah.
drawing and art, So I put those two together and I figured, why not go into a field where I can use these two subjects for a living?
I see.
So lo and behold, I went to University of Toronto.
Yeah. St. George or
St. George.
St. George. Oh, that's a tough school to get into.
Yeah, 2011, that's when I started my education there. And I finished my degree in 2015. And after that, I stayed there for two and a half years. And I did some language studies on the side as well. Studied some French and Spanish.
Oh, wow, man.
That's
Jeez. So well educated.
I guess you could say that, but I try.
You know what, though? Like, I hate on our education system a lot. And I'm not someone that kind of believes in the whole go to university to get a degree.
Fair
Because I
enough.
feel like when you're 18, how do you know what you want to do with the rest of your life? There's
the
no
thing.
way you're ever going to know. And then on top of that, you're forcing like kids to go into massive student debt. When
Yeah.
you're 18 to
Yeah.
pick a career that you're supposed to do until you're 65.
Exactly.
So even though I have this like perspective where I'm sort of against it, I do respect the people that are able to tough it out and finish the degree.
Yeah.
Because I went to Ryerson, right? And your school rejected me. I applied to UFT.
UFT, okay.
They rejected me
Oh,
because
snap.
my grades weren't high enough.
Wow.
So then I settled for Ryerson.
Yeah.
But even that, it was so difficult.
Yeah.
It was so hard. You got to like keep up on your homework and study and be so disciplined and just you can't like screw around on the weekends. You have to like really focus, and it's not an easy thing to do, right? And I was like, man, like whoever can finish that whole path and get a degree, like I have a lot of like respect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
If that makes any sense.
No,
right?
I understand, yeah.
Because you know how it is. It wasn't easy finishing it.
It wasn't an easy grind for sure. It was very mentally and emotionally, I would even say
Did you commute?
physically draining. Yeah, I did.
And you commuted.
I commuted every day. I still live out in Etobicoke, so it was about an hour every day just to go there and to come back. That's another hour. That's basically
So 2 hours a day.
2 hours a day. And sometimes, you know, how the transit system works in Toronto, it could be 1.5 or let's say 3 hours a day.
Yeah. Did you take the GO train or the subway?
No, just the train. The TTC.
GO train?
Yeah. No GO train. Just TTC.
Oh, TTC. So subway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like from Kipling or
From
Islington?
Kipling.
Oh, I know
Kipling.
Kipling Station.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandparents' house was maybe 5 minutes from Kipling. I know that area. Burnhamthorpe.
Yeah, I know.
East Mall or West Mall or whatever.
I am very familiar with that area because I
yeah.
live close to the West Mall in Burnhamthorpe.
Oh, okay, so you know the area.
Yeah,
so you got on
posh.
Kipling, went south to St. George?
St. George,
Spadina? St. George.
St. George, yeah.
St. George Station.
Yeah. It was a great campus, there was a lot to explore and do around there. I mean, but the problem was, like, every time after class, you'd feel very drained. Some people would want to, like, meet up and do stuff together, but I found that in my instance, a lot of people just wanted to part ways and either go home or go to their second job, even given any time of the day. So I would say being a student there, like being one in, I guess back then it was 47,000 in undergrad.
Yeah.
It was hard to make friends there. If I were being honest, it was very hard to socialize, but I tried my best to volunteer or take part in like communal activities. I remember even during like orientation weeks, I would volunteer my week as a leader and
okay, that's cool.
Lead the
for the new first year students.
For the new first year.
What do you call that?
Freshman.
Frosh week?
Frosh
week, right? Yeah. Oh, okay. Man, that's been so long for me.
Yeah.
That was 2002.
2002?
2002
okay.
was my first year.
Yeah.
At university. And I know what you mean, because I went into computer science.
Yeah.
And like dudes in computer science is like 99% guys.
Yeah,
right?
I could imagine.
And probably 90% of that 99% are extremely introverted guys. Right? So it's like
safe to say that.
trying to like talk to, and I consider myself fairly introverted, but I do have a lot of extroverted qualities. Like I'm not afraid to talk to people. I'm not afraid to have a conversation with strangers or speak to a camera or go and do spontaneous things in public.
Yeah.
But like when I was trying to make like friends at first year, it was like brutal trying to talk to anybody.
I can comprehend. I mean? Yeah. It was hard. It was very hard because, like I said before, there were people that would want to do stuff, and yeah, it's one in a few, but I guess it's a matter of luck or the kind of people you attract. For me, it was just, maybe I attracted the wrong kind of people.
Yeah.
And like, it's just like, oh, I gotta go home.
I remember my first year was crazy because it was the first year that had that thing called the double cohort.
Yep.
Where I was the very last year that had grade 13 in high school.
Okay.
So I had grade 13, and then when I graduated, the grade 12s graduated at the same time. Because
wow.
they discontinued grade 13.
Okay.
So we had like a double, no, not a double. We had double the amount of kids graduating and applying to universities all the same year.
Yeah.
So like the class sizes and the amount of people that were accepted were like sort of inflated because there's just so many of us.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I just remember all my classes as being so crowded.
Yeah.
And then Ryerson, I don't know if you're familiar with their campus, but it's sort of like right beside the mall.
Beside Eden Center.
Eden Center, right?
Yeah.
The mall, right? So it's beside a mall. And
classes are inside movie theaters as well.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. They ran out of space, and we had a class in a Cineplex Odeon.
Yep, right across Yonge and Dundas.
I was like, we're having physics class in a Cineplex Odeon movie theater. And like in a movie theater, you just have those seats that kind of bounce down.
Yeah.
There's no desk.
No desk.
You don't have a desk.
Yeah,
right?
You have to put stuff on your lap.
Right. So how are you taking notes in like a 3-hour lecture? Like you're bending over like this, and it was horrible. There's no table or nothing.
And also, like, those seats are comfortable because I would say whenever I go to a movie and I'm very tired, sometimes I have the habit of dozing off by accident. When I'm really, really tired, like my eyes will shut up. Like I will shut eye easily. Like I can only imagine if you're a student that works a job in the evenings after your daytime classes, say from 5 to 12, you come home, you do your assignments or your readings or your homework from 12 to 2, and then from 2 to like 5 or 6, you only get that much sleep. That's 4 hours.
Yeah.
Then from like 6 to 7, you get ready for school, and 7 to 8, you're commuting. And when you're there at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're sitting down. If the seats are so comfortable, you probably want to fall asleep again because you're only on 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah, man.
No matter how much
boring,
coffee
too.
you drink. That's the thing. I had a big challenge with that. Like doing these early morning classes in university, you would be very lackadaisical to pay attention.
Oh, okay.
You just want to like...
Yeah, you want to doze off.
You want to
You know what mistake I made? I never got into drinking coffee until I was 27.
Really?
Yeah.
Took you that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
And in those days, there wasn't any Red Bull or Monster Energy. Like the whole energy drink scene hadn't like come into the mainstream society yet, so that wasn't really a known thing.
Yeah.
So everyone was just drinking coffee, but for whatever reason, I never got into coffee. And what was bad for me was I had to drive from my house to the GO train station, which was give or take 10 minutes. Take the GO train from Brampton to Union Station, which is 45 minutes or so.
That's quite a commute.
Then from Union, I have to walk up to Dundas.
So that took you about 2 hours, one shot?
Yeah.
So it's 4 hours a day of commuting?
Yeah, of commuting.
That's crazy, man.
And so, like, I would do that, no caffeine, no coffee, sitting in a movie theater learning about kinetics and physics and light rays and all this slopes and differentiation, all this integrals and stuff. Yeah. Bored out of my mind. And then finally, our classes would end at 6 o'clock, and I want to go home. I get home by like 8:30, have dinner. It's like 9, take a shower. It's like 9:30, but then I got to get up by 5.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like any time anywhere to work on my homework or study unless I like studied in the train. Yeah. Or you know what I mean? It was like such a big mistake I think that I made because I wasn't disciplined enough to like study on the weekends, right?
Discipline is one big thing, and just dedication, just having that fortitude to be willing to accomplish what you want to accomplish. I think that's the drive that really drove me for 4 years. Yeah. And I think that's necessary because without discipline and the dedication, like, it's very hard. You can fall off the wagon easily in anything in life. But yeah, thank God those 4 years are done. They were so draining. Because it's funny, my friend asked me the other day, he's like, would you want to go back and do these 4 years again? I was like, hell no. It's like, never. You know, you're very unrested. You're working too much with, like, writing papers. You're constantly just studying. Don't really have much of a life, you know. But it pays off, you know. It's done. And
the work is hard, too, man.
The work is hard.
It's not easy.
No. Sure.
Like, and the way they structure university where you have to almost teach yourself a lot of the times,
it's basically
very difficult. Man.
It is, yeah. It's basically learning how to learn. That's what I would say I got from the 4 years. I mean, to the people out there that want to go to university, I wouldn't discourage them from it. I would say do it, but just don't have any grand expectations at the end of it. You know, just be ready for what life is going to throw at you, you know. I always say to myself, you know, no matter how much we try to plan ahead with our future, there's always something that will change it or something that will alternate your reality. And I'm a big, firm believer in God. And, like, I'm a Catholic, right? So I believe there's always a plan, you know, for myself and my loved ones and people around me. So I think just... at the end of it, just be dedicated and have discipline, and you shall prosper. Yeah. You know?
What I usually like to tell people is, if you have a specific field in mind, say something like, say you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, where it requires a certain level of education, where you have to pass the bar, or you got to go to med school or something. Then okay, I'm all in favor for going to post-secondary education like college or university. Yeah. But when you're going just for the sake of going, and you're taking like business administration, that's when I feel like going to university is a huge mistake, right?
Yes.
Do you agree with that, or no? What do you think?
I would agree, but at the same time, that degree is it's a piece of paper with a stamp, kind of gives you validation. I would say it only puts you above another person per se. you know, but compared to like a person with no education whatsoever, you know, with a degree, it's just a stamp on a piece of paper. But I believe skills can be learned, and character is something that you just develop over time with skills, you know. It can't be bought, like Anthony Bourdain says, you know. It's just something that's unique, and with your own skills and character, you know, it's just what attracts you to other people, and you know, that's how you make connections, and connections lead to jobs.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
stuff, and you know.
You know, to be fair though, I always like to play devil's advocate and think of like both sides of an argument. Like when I believe strongly in one side of an argument, I always like to try to look at the counter, right, and try to pick apart the holes in my beliefs.
Yeah.
And I understand this idea of do school when you're young.
Yep.
Because it's so much harder to get back into it when you're older. Like if I were to go to university now at 36 years old, there is no way it would work. Where I have a mortgage, I have a daughter, I have bills, and all these crazy things I have to take care of. There's no way it's going to work for me to go back to Ryerson, right?
For sure.
So I understand that point of like, get it done early so later on in life you have that degree for when you need it. And like, I get that, and that does make sense. But at the same time, if you are 18 and instead of going to university, you can sort of like travel the world, or try working internship, or try this hobby, or try this skill, or go to this country. And you can like get all these different life experiences where you can kind of like become a whole well-rounded human being and try to find a different path in life outside of the education system. I still think there's value in that as well. I don't think the argument is as black and white as school is good, school is bad. It's sort of like it depends on your situation, right? But I hate it when people say like university is the most important thing in life. You have to go. If you don't go, you're a bum, right? Like that's what people were telling me when I dropped out, right? Like, oh, you're gonna be a loser, and it's like, well,
it's not the case.
You know, I know that I'm gonna have to go through a harder path in life, right? But now I don't have tuition debt. I don't have student loan. I had nothing. Right? So that was free to go out and just try a whole bunch of things.
You do your things.
Right? So in some ways, the path that I took, I feel like that is very applicable to some people in the world. Whereas the path that you took also is very applicable to other people in the world. And I feel like both of these paths make sense. And there's not just like one specific answer to go through, right? And this is like the argument that I always struggle with when I talk to people that are well educated, right? Because they only see their way to success as the only way. Whereas went to high school, went to university, got a degree, got a full-time 9 to 5. Now I'm happy. This is the only way you can be successful in life.
If I may get into that topic of success, it's funny. I was listening to one of the interviews by the ex-lead singer of Linkin Park, Chester Bennington.
He killed himself, right? Or he committed suicide?
Yeah, he sadly passed away.
So sad, man.
Yeah, it is. It's one of his last interviews that I heard in 2017. He was saying something about success. It resonates with me very well because I felt this way after going through the hoops of university and even completing my private license, right? He said, like, it was something along the lines of, like, success is something like, you know, people think they get like a little card in the mail saying that you're going to be happy for the rest of your life when you're successful. But in reality, you're not. You know, there's all these hurdles and challenges that come your way. You think you have to do certain things to be happy, and you will find success, and they equate success with happiness. That's not the truth, you know. That's what he said, and like that was a big loud cry of help from, like, I would say from him, right? From him, because
trying to reach out, right?
Yeah, he was trying to reach out, and he even said that, like, the only difference between you and I is that I'm in Linkin Park, but you know, at the end of the day, it's not what people think it is. You could be touring millions of arenas, seeing millions of faces, screaming your name, and at the end of the day, it's just, you know, it's all noise in the background. It's just whatever is there between your skull. You're dealing with that thoughts. And I remember he was saying that, you know, it was a bad place for him to be alone in that skull, and like Yeah, success isn't everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can say I can relate what he said because once I was done university, I felt lost a bit. I didn't know
Oh
what
yeah,
to
you
do.
didn't know what to do.
Didn't know
Did
what.
you apply for architecture jobs or no?
I did apply for some internships, but a lot of them were volunteer internships, and I did apply for a master's program, but I didn't get into it.
Oh, you applied for masters.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I
So
got
you
it.
wanted to keep going.
I just said, you know what? Let's see if it keeps.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was another 4 years. I'm glad it didn't happen
Dang.
because it would have been something I would have
A
terribly.
master's degree. Wow.
Yeah, it would have been something I would have terribly regretted. It's a lot of time commitment and money. Yeah, it's a 4 year master's. It's not even a 2 year.
4 years.
It's 4 years, 3.5 technically. Yeah,
gosh.
it's in basically like another undergrad. But yeah, I'm so glad I didn't get in.
Did your parents want you to do that?
My parents were supportive. I'm very fortunate that I have supportive folks, friends too. So, no, they were just like, try it out. If you get in, you get in. If you don't, that's okay. You know, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Just try something else, you know. And lo and behold, I went from there and here we are, you know.
Wow, that's so crazy. Imagine if you had to go another 3.5 years
It would be
for a
dreadful.
master. But what does a master's degree actually do, though? Like, what does that designation do?
It's just an additional designation. Then after, I remember back then I guess things have changed with like the Ontario Association of Architects. I don't know if it's the same thing anymore, but after your master's you would have to get licensed as an official licensed architect in Ontario, right?
Okay,
You
yeah.
have to do a set of examinations even after your master's.
Oh my! You have to do more school work.
Well, it's
After
more
your master's.
more self-study, more internship.
You would think you get a title of master that you don't have to take any more exams. Like
No,
that
it's
seems
not
so
it.
crazy.
It is. It's insane, man. That's academia for you, you know. And
Wow.
even people going to their PhDs and stuff, they put themselves through a lot of work, and I commend them for that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's tough.
I respect people that go through med school. Like if you're a doctor, or even like a podiatrist or whatever, chiropodist, anything that has to do with the medical profession. If you made it through all those years of school and university and med school, like I got mad respect for those people.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like that is like when I think about the amount of work and dedication and sacrifices you have to make to get that type of level of education, I just can't. I could never see myself doing that, right? So I'm just like, I have so much respect for those people. Sort of like, kind of like people in like the military. You know those jobs where you can never see yourself in their shoes doing that type of job, but it's such a difficult position.
Yeah.
That always humbles me, and it always gives me perspective. And I'm always like, you know, like the cops, especially with the police force, you know, they get a lot of hate, right? But I'm like, man, you know, those guys are doing such like a difficult job, right? I feel like a little bit of the hate is, you know, it's unjustified, right?
Yeah.
Because I could never see myself doing that job, you know, dealing with people's nonsense and being shot at, or God knows what happens, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I see people accomplish things of extreme difficulty, whether in school or in the real world, you know, it just gives me a level of appreciation where I'm like, man, I know I couldn't do that, so like mad respect to those people, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that like I've always felt, and I've sort of felt more recently, because I kind of, in some ways, I sort of regret that I don't have post-secondary education, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, in my 30s, I have never been so focused on self-education before.
That's
like
good.
reading books, listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts, learning new things, trying new things, teaching myself new things.
Yeah.
Like I never did this in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like I was never obsessed with learning and becoming a better person until I was in my 30s, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, wow, this is like so difficult, but I wasn't ready for this when I was 18.
Yeah.
Right? When I was 18, I wasn't ready to make this type of sacrifice. I just wanted to play basketball.
Okay.
I just wanted to watch the NBA,
Yeah.
play basketball, and play StarCraft all day
Yeah.
long. That's all I wanted to do. Video
Just having
games and play
fun.
basketball. Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
I was still a kid. And I feel like a lot of people mature a lot later in life, right?
Yeah.
You know, some people mature earlier and they're a lot more responsible. Whereas me, when I was 18, it was still like I was 14. And when I was 25, it was still like I was 14. You know, when I was 25, that's all I did. That's all I did. Still played basketball, still played video games, still just wanted to chill and hang out.
Yeah.
Right? But it wasn't until later on, until my 30s, then I sort of like matured later in life and I developed this whole new like perspective. I'm just like, wow, man, you know, it's so cool that people can accomplish all these cool things to get these like high levels of education, right?
Well, what was like, I want to say, your wake up call, you know, in that sense?
Well, so there was one big wake up call where I have a really tight group of friends.
Yeah.
Where we've been friends since like grade 1.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm talking like
Way
friendship of 25, 30
That's crazy.
years.
I don't even think I've had friends that long.
Like, and this is not just one person. It's like a couple guys.
Yeah.
There's like 4 or 5 of us. Like, we've been tight for years.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And all of them pretty much went to university, studied engineering, got a degree, and all have like well-paying jobs, and they're all well off.
Yeah.
And then there's Derek. And then there's me.
And there's you.
Doing what? Still playing basketball like as when we were 16. Okay. Right? So it's like they all leveled up and evolved when they got into their 20s, where I was stuck in the past.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, like, what am I doing with my life? Right? I see all my best friends, like, you know, getting these cool jobs, making money, you know, buying their first homes and doing all these, like, things, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I'm still driving my parents' car. I'm still living in my parents' basement. I'm still, like, I need the support of my mom and dad, you know, to get me through life.
Yeah.
And that was when, like, the switch kind of started to, the idea started to get created in my mind. But it's still, again, it wasn't until I was like 32 when I figured out, like, you know, I got into like videography and cameras and all this, and I was like, oh, I know what my passion in life is now.
Yeah.
So every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm into cameras, I'm into videography, I'm into creative things, right? Whereas before I wake up, oh, what happened on the Toronto Raptors? You know what I mean? Like that was my mindset before when I woke up. I was so interested in all of my hobbies, but now when I wake up, I know exactly what I want to do with my life. Right. But unfortunately, because I don't have an education, right, I've kind of punished myself throughout the years, whereas I'm stuck with a job where I don't make that much money. Yeah. Right? So it's like I do regret not going to the university, but at the same time, if I force myself to finish it, would I still be happy? Would I have found this whole videography stuff if I was doing computer science? I don't know. Yeah. Right? So it's like, it's always like that what if. What if, yeah. Right? So I'm always conflicted, you know, as what to do next. But at the same time, you know, I always like to talk to people that have gone through life in a complete different path than me. Because you can reach success from all different angles. Yeah. Right? It's like, it's not this weird one linear way of becoming happy or becoming successful. You can get there from all different paths and directions, and you can do all different kinds of things in life, right? And I don't know, I just want to keep learning more and just keep becoming like the best person I can be, and just learn from other people's perspective. This is why I like this whole podcast stuff. Yeah. Right. I like to learn things, right? Yeah. Like this whole podcast is not just entertainment. I learn from talking to you. I learn from talking to other guests, and it just sort of like makes me a whole, complete human being, if that makes any sense.
No, for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can comprehend. Like, there's a famous saying by Bono, ambition bites the nails of success. I think it's great that you have all this ambition to just keep going forward, regardless of your friends, you know, leveling up. You just see them and you're very inspired, and I think anything's possible if you just try it, you know, so just never give up and, you know, keep going after the dream.
Yeah. You know what was weird though? I had like moments where I was bitter.
Yeah.
Where I was like, how come my friends are so much smarter than me? How come my friends are so much more successful than me? Right? I had those weird moments where I was like, this isn't fair, right? But then it wasn't until later on where I realized, like, oh man, you can't think like that. Like, that's nonsense. Right?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, and I would say going through like a university setting and even with aviation, I don't think smarts helps. Being a intelligent person helps, but at the same time, you just gotta have the drive. Because if you don't have the drive, you're not really gonna be able to accomplish or finish what you started.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a lot of, like, I go back, paraphrase what I said earlier, dedication and like just discipline.
Yeah.
Having those two things are key. Without that, you can't really accomplish much.
Yeah, like if you don't have that goal or clear vision in your mind of what you want to achieve,
Yeah.
like justifying spending 16 hours a day on the weekend studying history or reading a textbook, it's hard to force yourself to do that if you don't have the discipline, right? And I never had that discipline.
No, for sure.
I never had it because I know I had no clear picture in my mind. Okay, I'm gonna study computer science, and then what?
Yeah.
Am I going to be a programmer? Am I going to work for a company? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just did it because I kind of like computers. It was my best grades in high school. And there was never a real purpose or reason, right? I didn't know why I was doing it, right? So it was like this, almost like a huge waste of time for me. And I feel like there's lots of people that can relate to that. But at the same time, they might be in a situation where their parents are forcing them to go. Where like, especially, I don't know if this applies to you, but like my parents were kind of like, like the immigrant parents. They came here from a different country.
Yep.
They wanted to make a better life for themselves by working hard. And my dad would work 3 jobs. I wouldn't see him most of the time. He's working 3 jobs all simultaneously so that he can make enough money to provide us with the opportunity to go to university.
Yep.
Right? So he's working so hard for me to have that opportunity. And then I throw that opportunity in the trash.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like I felt so horrible for years, like always disappointing my parents. But at the same time, I was very fortunate enough to have parents that were very loving and supportive of my decisions that I would make, no matter how crazy they were. Right? Eventually, they would always support me, which I was very thankful for. But a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have that stable support from a mom and a dad.
Yeah.
Or from whoever, grandparents or brother or sister. And it almost feels like they're kind of stuck, whereas they have no choice, right? But it's I don't want to say you do have a choice because I don't know everyone's situation, but it's just such a messy subject to tackle if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
No, for sure.
It's hard.
No, I can understand, but at the end of the day, it's like if you're given opportunities, I believe you have to take advantage of it. Like for myself, I took the advantage of pursuing education. Like I worked, I paid for it, half of it at least. My parents also supported me.
See, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome you have supportive parents, right?
Supporting parents, exactly. Like even though I wanted to just pay for it all on my own, my mom and dad were like, you know what, we helped your brother and sister. We're gonna help you as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what, support is great, so I'll
Yeah.
take it. Parents are your backbone. They're always gonna help you no matter what. Even at 3 a.m., you're struggling all alone in your room. You want to phone somebody, you have your mom. You can always call her.
Mm-hmm.
She's always going to listen.
Yeah,
Even at 3,
exactly, right?
So I remember going through like personal, mental turmoils when I lived alone in Montreal while I was going through aviation, like pursuing my early initial stages of aviation training there.
So this is after university?
After university.
After
university, yeah. Anytime you need a phone call at 3 a.m., your mom will pick up. So always have to appreciate your moms and dads out there.
So what did they think about that? Were they pushing you to get a job in architecture?
No, they weren't really. They weren't really pushing me in like that direction. They weren't. I wouldn't say they were aggressive parents. They were very supportive. They wanted me to do what I want and pursue whatever I wish. So, no, but I wanted aviation, and they said, you know what, go for the dream, don't stop.
Wow, that's awesome.
And yeah, I took my dad up on a plane ride about 1.5 years ago before COVID. Yeah, he really enjoyed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was the first time I ever took my dad up on an aircraft. Oh, actually, any family member. I think the only person who's been with me is my dad, and I've taken a couple of friends.
Yeah.
Outside on an aircraft and showed them this Toronto City.
Yeah.
You know, from
Wait, so how does that work? Do you have to go to like a college or like
well,
how does the aviation school work?
Well, my flying club out in Brampton, Caledon, you basically, well, is your question more related towards like how do you start out or like what do you do to do like a flight or whatever?
Like, say you want to get into aviation.
Yeah.
Do you have to like go to school and learn all the theory before you get into the actual plane?
No, you learn it simultaneously. So for me, in my instance, I got like the category. Like the first thing I did was I went for a sightseeing flight. Just wanted to see if I really liked it. I really resonated and I enjoyed the surroundings, and I said yes.
Yep.
Got my class 1 medical with the aviation examiner. Then after that, I went to a flying club, signed up. Then we did like theoretical classes simultaneously, and we did some flying. So what is the requirement in Canada with Transport Canada is that you need 30 hours of instruction, flight instruction with an instructor beside you, and you need 15 hours of solo in order to, which is basically you flying on your own in order to get your private license.
Mm-hmm.
So I fulfilled those requirements and I did my written exams, which is the theoretical part.
Oh, I remember you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
I remember a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, that was for my commercial phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the private license, it's the same thing. You do your theoretical ground school on the side, and you do your flying. Once you finish your theoretical ground school, you're prepared. They'll sign you off, and your instructor or the chief instructor of the flying club will sign you off. You can go write the written exam. If you pass everything, all 4 subjects, with I believe it was a 60% for each subject and overall, then you're cleared to do your flight test once you fulfill the requirements and your flight instructor signs you off for your flight test.
Yeah.
So once you do that, you're officially private licensed. And it's similar to the commercial phase as well, except with commercial, you just need more hours. And you need, I think, about 40 flight instruction hours.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I believe. Yeah. But with 40, you could use it towards different aspects of your training, like instrument rating, or your multi-engine or whatever. And you do the same thing. You have a written exam, which is what I passed in early May. Now I'm just gearing up for that flight test portion. So it's getting there, you know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wait, so can you just like, you know those drones? Can you fly those drones?
No, well, you need a license to fly a drone. I think that weighs
250 grams or more.
Yes. Yeah, you need a license for those. But if it's anything below 250 grams, you don't need a license. But I personally don't have a drone, but I would like to try one one day. You have a drone?
I have a 249 gram drone.
Wow, right on the dot.
So it's considered a child's toy.
A child's toy.
Yeah, in the regulations. So I don't need the aviation test.
Yeah.
I was looking into it because because part of filmmaking is flying drones. Right?
Yeah, it's a thing.
So I bought this is a super small, tiny drone where you fly with your smartphone.
Yeah.
You see on your smartphone what the drone sees, and it comes like sort of like a controller.
Yep.
But it's limited to the type of power and quality of video it can create.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of getting those bigger drones, but it requires the aviation certification.
Yeah.
For, I don't know what it's called, but it's like, it's considered like a vehicle, an airborne vehicle that is not a toy or something. Like, it has this weird distinction.
It's a category.
Yeah, category, right? So it requires a certain level of an aviation test. And I was looking into it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get a fee for flying my drone in the park of me walking around. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah.
Because I'm using the drone to make like YouTube videos.
Yeah. I believe that license is called the R-Pass or something.
The R-Pass?
Yeah, RPAS. It stands for something. I haven't looked into it. But yeah, there is a license out there for drones.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, man.
We can bust out the drone. I'll let you fly it around.
Yeah, we'll check it out after. That'll be sweet, man.
You know what's weird? We can't fly it near our work because we're too close to the airport.
Pearson.
I get this warning on my phone. Like, it says you're too close to the Toronto Pearson Airport.
Yeah.
And the drone, it will refuse to let the drone lift off the ground.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just like, dang, that's so...
Really?
Yeah, it won't let me because
Wow.
you're too close to the flight path of the planes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know, like how does that work? When you're flying, are you looking at like the longitude? What do you call it? Longitude and latitude?
Yeah.
Like, what if some jackass is just flying a drone? Like, how do you know that it's there? Like,
Well, what we use is visual flight rules. So
visual flight rules.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
that?
Well, it's basically short form is VFR. I'm VFR trained. I'm not instrument trained. Meaning, I'll explain the difference and I'll get back to your question. Like VFR and IFR is just like visual flight rules. We have a certain weather minima that we have to follow, and we have to be above. We have to be below clouds at least 500 feet, I believe, and about 1 horizontal mile. This is like in controlled airspace.
Wow, that's so crazy. 1 horizontal mile.
Yeah, I don't know how much that is in 1,000 feet, but
How do you
this
determine that?
it's all these regulations that Transport Canada come up with.
Oh, good old Transport Canada.
They're all federally mandated, so these are all the regulations that kind of promote safety. But yeah, going back to VFR versus IFR, it's just visual flight rules. So basically, we fly with what we see outside, and IFR is basically flying based on your instruments, following weather minimas and different approaches into different airports. That's just basically the difference, Whereas in instruments, you have like no visual reference to outside.
Oh, is there like a GPS component to this?
Well, certain aircrafts have GPS. Yeah, you use a lot of nav aids, meaning radio, and we have the very high omni frequency range, like an indicator, VOR indicator. That's what they call it. There's a heading indicator and stuff. This instruments in the aircraft that we use for instrument training, and we get the help of the ATC and we follow different headings.
Oh wow,
that's for instrument. But VFR, it's also we use ATC's help, and we follow the headings, and we use visual navigation. We confirm our landscapes with our maps and whatnot.
Do you have like a dispatcher in your ear from like those radio control towers or something every time you fly?
Yeah, that's the ATC.
That's the ATC.
Yeah, those are the guys we talk to.
Oh, okay. So you're always in communication with them.
We're in communication. Yeah, either in controlled airspace mainly. If we're uncontrolled, we communicate with other aircrafts in the vicinity.
Yeah.
Or
do they ask you questions like if you had any alcohol to drink or anything?
No, never. I mean, you're not supposed to drink and fly, right? The general rule is 8 hours between bottle to throttle. So 8 hours.
8 hours between bottle to throttle.
Yeah.
Huh.
You can't be, or maximum is like 24 hours because you can be heavily intoxicated and fly, because when you go at least 2,000 feet, I believe so, that's the number, the effects of alcohol are 3 times likely. Meaning,
really?
Yeah, one drink, I believe, at 2,000 feet is like 3 drinks at sea level.
Because of the altitude?
The oxygen levels. Yeah, the altitude, the oxygen levels.
Oh,
and everything.
Really?
Because you have less oxygen up there, right? And
so you get lit.
Basically, you're more, if you want to put it in that terms, and you're more susceptible to hypoxia. So.
Oh shit, that's not good.
Yeah, this is all a part of our training. They teach us all this in like the human factors aspect. So yeah, don't drink and fly.
But what if you drink alcohol on a regular flight to like Hawaii or something?
As a passenger?
How does that work? Because wouldn't that heighten your alcohol tolerance because you're so high up in the air?
Yeah, exactly. But
is that why people get crazy on planes?
Could be a possible explanation as to why, but as long as you're the pilot, you shouldn't be drinking. So.
Oh, okay.
Passengers, they can do whatever.
Well, that's like that Denzel Washington movie. Right?
What's that movie called?
Oh, I can't remember, but remember he was drinking? He was an amazing pilot, but he was under the influence
That is so
of alcohol,
unrealistic,
right?
Man. This guy was like sniffing a lime before his flight. He was sleeping with some flight attendants. It was just very unrealistic.
But he was like the craziest pilot of all time. He was like this amazing pilot.
What was it called? United 93 or something?
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
You have the laptop.
Yeah, like I remember that movie.
It's Denzel though, right?
I know what you're talking about. I saw like the first couple of scenes. I'm like, this is enough.
Because he had those little bottles of. It was called Flight, 2012.
Flight, yeah,
Flight.
okay.
Yeah. That was it.
I guess United 93.
That was a good movie.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that movie. I was like, yo, this guy is hammered, and he's
Yeah.
doing all these like crazy aerial acrobatics, and he saved the plane from crashing and killing everyone. But they had to investigate him because he was. They found those little bottles of vodka
Oh shit.
in the
yeah.
garbage. You know
Yeah,
those
yeah.
little small ones.
Yeah.
That alcoholics carry in their purses and bags.
I see a lot of those, man. I see a
Oh,
lot.
that was a good movie.
It was a classic.
Flight.
My favorite one was Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, dude, that was so troll. That was a Samuel L. Jackson. That's a Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
That movie's
scene.
so troll.
I know.
Oh,
the
my-
ending when I think it was Keenan wins, he lands the plane based off of his flight simulator training. Because both the pilots are like incapacitated at the point.
That is just crazy.
That was such a classic.
That's so funny.
Oh man.
Well, it's hilarious that you understand like the physics and what's happening in the airspace. Like that's so cool. Like alcohol affects you 3 times more at altitude
Yep.
than at sea level.
Yep.
Wow.
Because like you're getting less oxygen there into your blood, right? When you're high up, as compared to sea level, because air is more dense here, and up there it's less dense, and you're less oxygen, basically.
Oh, I see. So,
So-
it's less dense.
Less dense up there. So
Oh, that's crazy. I never knew that.
yeah, that's why you get more drunk, if you want to say.
Does that apply to like all things that intoxicate you?
I believe, as far as I know, it's just alcohol. But
Yeah.
with cigarettes, they say like, you know what, people who smoke more are more susceptible to hypoxia as well.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I see. Man, cigarettes are just never a good move.
No.
Like, not once have I ever heard anything good out of cigarettes. You
Yeah,
know what I
it's-
mean?
Yeah.
Like, the only thing is, like, oh, it takes the edge off when you're stressed at work. But aside from that, it's like, man, all these studies and things you hear from intelligent people about the bad side effects of cigarettes, like, it's just terrible, man.
Takes years off your life. It's
Yeah,
just,
right.
it's expensive.
And it's expensive. I'm too cheap to buy cigarettes. I've
Yeah.
never smoked a cigarette in my life.
Me neither.
I never tried one.
Actually, I tried one once when I was very drunk with a friend. She gave me her, like, I don't know, they smoke it at like nightclubs and stuff. It's a very
Yeah.
thin cigarette. Accidentally.
Oh, those ones. Yeah, I know those ones. They're
They,
like
they
a
call
small
it the bitch
bitch stick. Yeah, the bitch stick. They call it a bitch stick.
Yeah, I accidentally smoked one of those when I was really inebriated at a nightclub once years ago.
Yeah.
In like early university days, but yeah, that I never really liked it. But I mean, for me, I'll do cigars once in a while.
Oh, you're a cigar guy?
Yeah, just for the pleasure.
Oh, okay. I did cigars once, and I was inhaling it like crazy, and I just got fucked up. Like I was just like sucking it back. Like you're supposed to just breathe the air out,
Yeah.
aren't you? And just for
Yeah.
the flavor.
Exactly.
I was inhaling it like
Oh, no.
like marijuana or something. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
didn't know what
yeah.
I was doing.
That's
And I
not
was
good.
like, "What is this? This is ruining my life. I feel horrible."
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not big on smoking. It's an expensive habit.
Yeah, it's like the only benefits that I've heard is that some people have said like when they drink alcohol, it's nice to have a cigarette after, and these are coming from like friends who don't smoke.
Yeah.
But when they drink alcohol, then all of a sudden they'll smoke a cigarette for whatever reason that those work hand in hand. And I've also heard people say things like they kind of give you like a little head rush, like a little buzz. So
Yep.
if you need to like be assertive and say you're presenting in front of a group of people, it's good to smoke a cigarette before you go on stage. It kind of like calms the nerves and gives you like a quick little buzz or head rush to kind of wake you up type of thing. But aside from that, there's just so many negative health consequences when it comes to cigarette smoke, where it's like if it's not cancer, if it's not the chemicals or your lungs being destroyed, like I just feel so bad for people that are addicted to that habit that
Yeah.
can't quit, right? Because it's a very addictive habit
It's
to
an
get rid
addictive
of.
habit, and there's just better means of finding ways of relaxing or getting that edge off, instead of just taking it out on expensive little sticks.
Yeah,
That have carcinogens and that are possibly not good for you. But I mean, I can't really judge anyone else for their choices, but it is what they
Yeah,
are.
but at the same time, like adults need to be adults. If you want to smoke a cigarette, go ahead. Right?
Go ahead.
That's your choice.
Exactly.
Right? Adults need to be able to make decisions with their life that they want to do, and you can't tell people yes or no, right? To those type of things. But at the same time, sure, man.
Yeah.
I think I never got into cigarettes because I was scared.
Yeah.
I have like this super compulsive,
Cheers.
addictive personality. Cheers, man.
Yeah.
I have like a super compulsive side to me where whenever I try anything, it's either 100% or it's 0.
Yeah.
I can't just do something for fun. So like when I would play like video games, for example, I have to play to be the best.
Okay.
I can't just play on a Friday night for a couple hours just to chill with the boys and just have a good time. It has to be 14-hour session to get rank 1. You know what I mean? Like it's that I have that obsessive compulsive personality.
Yeah.
Right? And so like I've always been scared of things like cigarettes or heroin or crack or coke, these very destructive drugs like methamphetamines, right?
Oh man.
Where the addiction is real.
Yeah.
And even things like opioids, right? And painkillers and all that type of stuff. And I've been very aware that I have this personality trait of a compulsive obsessive.
Yeah.
Right? And so I try to direct it into things that can lead to positive things. So what I've been doing is like I'll focus on lifting weights and I'll focus on like my whole videography type of stuff. And I just go hard. Like I go like deep, like all the way.
Yep.
But there are times where I kind of wish I had more balance. You know what I mean? Like I wish I could just enjoy watching a game of basketball. I can't just watch the game. I got to watch the game. I got to have my laptop open with all the stats. I got to have my phone with a bet on the scoring line for the game. I got to play daily. I got to do everything. It's just so crazy.
Yeah.
Right? I just have this crazy mentality as a person. And this is sort of why like I became a gambler. I don't know if I ever told you this, but like
Okay.
when I dropped out of university, I became like a professional gambler for 8 years.
Okay.
And FedEx was my first job.
Yeah.
The job that we work at. When I was 27, that was like my first real job.
Really?
And I remember like when they interviewed me, I had this 8-year window of nothing on my resume. And they're like, "What did you do here?" I was like, "I was a freaking gambler."
Really? That's what you said?
Yeah, man, because I don't know what else to say. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I traveled around. I played in the World Series of Poker. I played
Wow.
all this craziness, right? So like
World Series of Poker.
you ever watched that on ESPN?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, so I played it in 2008.
So you follow what's his name? Seidel? Dan Seidel?
Eric Seidel?
Eric Seidel. Yeah. I read a book recently about poker.
Oh, that guy?
No, it's not about him. Well, it was actually related to him. It was written by Maria Konnikova. She is
Tennis player?
No. She's got a PhD in psychology from Columbia University. The book is called The Biggest Bluff. You can Google it. She's a great writer.
The Biggest Bluff?
Yeah.
The Biggest Bluff.
I believe that's the name, yeah.
Oh, Maria Konnikova. The Biggest Bluff. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that book. She talks about how she had no experience in poker. She was very interested. And she's a writer, just to get into the background of her, she's a writer for the New York Post, like the columnist. She's a columnist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
She just wanted to explore the world of poker, and she teamed up with Seidel, Eric Seidel.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, names are a little fuzzy.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah.
Poker kind of died down.
Yeah, I mean, I actually want to get into it because I would love to learn, and I don't know much about it. But yeah, the book is great. Basically it's all about skill and chance. That's what she sums up with. She relates a lot to like the economical theory of John von Neumann.
Yeah.
Who talks about just skill and chance, and that's basically what poker is. It's knowing about how to read people, and going back to skill and chance. Is that what you would have experienced as a poker player?
Yes and no. It is a game of skill and chance, but it depends.
Okay.
So say, for example, we were to play a game of poker. Me and you. One game, right? one day and one night,
Yeah.
you probably have just as good a chance to win as I do. It's probably 50-50, right? It's very even.
Yep.
But if we were to play 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, right? Over a longer period of time, the player that's better is always going to win.
Yep.
And the guy that doesn't has absolutely no chance. Because when you play a game of poker in a short term, over a short period of time, the amount of luck that's involved in the game has a huge impact on the game. It's huge, right? Like you can have the worst hand and all of a sudden get quote unquote lucky and then win all the money, right? But in the long run, over hundreds and thousands of hands, over millions of hands, of millions of hours, the player that makes a better decision wins all the money like 99% of the time. Like they just win everything. Right. It's because that factor of luck, in the long term, it slowly gets diminished by a player's skill. And this is why poker, it's so like fascinating and enjoyable to people in like the mainstream, because anyone can win. Anyone can just join a poker tournament and all of a sudden win $1 million, because anyone can win. But if that player was to play 100 tournaments over the course of multiple years, they're going to lose all their money.
Yeah, it's win
because
or lose,
the professionals are just so good at the game.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was like the thing that's very interesting about poker, whereas everyone just thinks it's a game of luck. Whereas where I say in the short term it's a game of luck, but in the long term it's a 100% game of skill. Yeah. And if you're not as good as your opponent, they're going to win everything from you.
It's all about knowing how to read your opponent, right?
Yes. That's a big part. And also the mathematical edge of knowing how to play your hand properly and knowing how much to bet, right? And like say for example, the suits, right? Yep. Say if you got 4 hearts, right, and so you have 1 heart off of a flush, I think the odds are like 36% chance that you're going to make a flush with the next 2 coming cards, right? Okay. So your opponent, if they know that, they can manipulate their bet sizing so that it's not in favor of that 36% odds. So say, for example, we were to flip a coin. Yep. Flipping a coin is 50-50. If you were to bet $1 and I'd bet $1, we flip 1,000 coins, we're just both going to break even. Yep. No one's going to win any money. Exactly. Right? Yep. But if we flip 1,000 coins and I put in $1 and you put in $1.01, over those million flips, you're going to lose so much money. Wow. Right? Yeah. Because you're putting more out there. So the way to manipulate your bet sizing, to force your opponents to make decisions that are mathematically incorrect, that's what's going on. Okay. You're essentially flipping coins, but instead of putting in $1, you're forcing your opponent to put in $1.10, forcing them to put in $1.05. So you gain a mathematical advantage over them. But then again, this doesn't pay off until the long run, right? Over multiple thousands of hands. So that's why poker is a very interesting phenomenon, because you see regular Joes, you see like an accountant win $1 million at the World Series of Poker. This guy named Chris Moneymaker. I think Maria might have mentioned Chris Moneymaker. I think so. He started the poker boom. He was an accountant with the last name Moneymaker. He went to the World Series of Poker as a regular guy. Crazy. He beat all the professionals and he won over $1 million and the World Championship. Because think about it, like in poker, you can pay $10,000 and play against the LeBron Jameses, the Michael Jordans of poker. Yep. You can't do that in the NBA. You can't do that in the PGA. You can't do that in the NHL. You can't just show up with 10 grand. Yep. Sure. You can't just show up with a bunch of money and play the best players in the world. That just doesn't happen, right? But in poker, you can. Yeah. Right? And on top of that, you have a chance to beat them. Wow. Like if you were to play football against Tom Brady or whatever, right? You have no chance to throw the ball as good as him, right? But if you were to play Phil Ivey or Daniel Negreanu or some of these amazing poker players, in one game, you actually have a chance to beat them, right? And that's what's so appealing about poker, is that the regular person has a chance. And that's what draws in the masses to these tournaments. Yep. And that's what blew up. That's why it blew up in the mainstream. It was such a cool phenomenon to see, because I was on the sidelines watching. I'm like, yo, what is going on? This. So you've been to Vegas? And you've multiple times. I used to go every year. Oh, wow. I used to go every year. That's my goal for my 30th birthday, just to go there. You want to go to Vegas? Yeah, for my 30th. Where do you want to go? What casino? I don't know, Do you know? No, not really. MGM Grand, like, they have a casino, right? MGM? Yep, MGM is nice. They have the UFC there, I think, sometimes. Yeah, I'm a big UFC fan. Oh, you're a big UFC guy? Yeah, so I would love to go there for
some gambling and some UFC.
What'd you think of Poirier and Connor? Did you watch that?
I love that performance. It was
his what happened? His ankle snapped, or what snapped? Something in his leg?
I believe like he broke his leg. That's what happened. I don't know if it was an ankle snap exactly, but it was like his leg got disfigured pretty badly. It was similar to what Anderson Silva faced, and even recently Chris Weidman.
Yeah, Chris Weidman. Yeah, he snapped his shit too.
It happened to him. It's funny. Those guys fought each other. Yeah, years later it happened to him, and that fight, going back to the Chris Weidman fight, that was the first fight in UFC history where an opponent has won without a single strike.
Really?
Yeah, because
no strikes.
No strikes. Uriah Hall did not trade anything. Like he was just defending, right?
Oh, and then Weidman came up and threw that
with the kick.
But he went all out, right? He went all out with the kick, and then he snapped his leg or whatever.
That was crazy, man. I feel for those guys. They really grind, and I hope they make it back. I know Anderson Silva did eventually. Like even recently, Silva fought like Julio Cesar Chavez.
Yeah, boxing.
Yeah, 46-year-old guy.
Yeah, I know.
And he dominated Chavez Jr. in a boxing match. It was a split, but wow. Yeah. Guy was 46. He just came and won. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not even his territory, but that's impressive, you know. Respect to both of those guys. And even, like, going back to Poirier versus McGregor, that was a great performance. I think the antics after the fight were hilarious.
That's so funny.
Yeah. The guy was down, and he was already promoting the fourth fight. You know, it's crazy. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they put out a fourth fight. I think I don't know. I think Poirier should go after the championship.
Yeah,
I would love to see him fight for that. It would be interesting. But where the money is, they'll go after that. So I think...
Yeah, you gotta go where the money is too, right? You gotta make
a living,
right?
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a fourth fight, and I think the same thing will happen again.
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna be any different because at this point they've really figured out each other, and I think Poirier has more of a psychological edge, I would say.
Yeah.
And he really knows how Conor trades and what he does, because this time around Conor was a little bit more aggressive at the beginning of the round, but then at the end, like, Poirier got the best of him, you know? So, it was a 10-8 round, too. And I even saw, like, the judges' scorecards. Like,
did you?
Yeah.
What was it?
Poirier was winning the rounds.
They were winning the rounds. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's what they said. And even, like, from my perspective, I mean, there's a lot of people who could argue against me, but I thought Poirier was doing pretty well.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So, no, it was a great fight. I think that card was great. You know, I would love to see another one. I think my favorite UFC card of all time is UFC 217, Bisping St. Pierre.
Wow, you know, it's so specific.
Because I went there for it.
Oh, because you went there. I was like, how do you know 217?
Yeah, it was a crazy night. Like, there were 3 title fights on that card. It was Bisping St. Pierre. It was, Garbrandt versus Dillashaw.
Oh, Cody Garbrandt,
Yeah. And it was... Johanna versus Doug Rose. I remember vividly because the night before the card, I was working at the library at U of T.
And you were?
I was, yeah. And like my friend Abe and myself, we were just debating, you know what? Should we go? Wow. We were talking about it ever since the Maymac fight, the Mayweather-McGregor fight. Like, you know what? If Mayweather wins, let's go to New York. That's the bet we had. And he won. So we did. At the end of the day, like, just like the night before, we saw the tickets. They were like $105.
How far up?
We sat on the Chase Bridge section, which was like a little bridge that hangs over the garden. And you have like these little glass barricades in front of you where you can see all the action. It's perfect for a Knicks game or a Rangers game. I would recommend it if you...
Wait, was this in the Garden?
Madison Square
Garden.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been to the Garden?
I've been to the Garden 3 times.
Wicked. That's a mecca of basketball.
Mecca of boxing, basketball, music. The Pope was there in 1984, I believe. Yeah. He did a mass there, Pope John Paul II. But yeah, literally the night before... we were like, you know what? Let's get tickets. They're so cheap. I'm gonna get the Airbnb. We take buses. We take the Greyhound.
You took the Greyhound.
Yeah, literally at like my shift finished at like 10 o'clock. No, it was like 11. It was 11. Like from St. George Robarts Library, I just literally raced down to the terminal by Bay and Dundas. That's where the Greyhounds were, right? So my friend and I, we met there. We hopped on the bus. 12 hours in, we reached New York City. We got to our Airbnb. We gallivanted around the city. We ate a lot. It was funny that day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man. Like we had a very good time, and we went and watched the fights. Like it was a great night of UFC fights. Like that night, there were 3 champions that came in. All 3 belts changed hands.
Oh, really?
It was a great card. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They all got defeated. Bisping lost.
Bisping lost,
and Joanna lost.
Yeah, which was the Johanna one was a crazy one. Like
it was a TKO punches.
Yeah, like Johanna was betting. She was like the favorite, and Tug Rose was the underdog, like a big underdog. And
really?
I remember MSG going silent when she got TKO. Like that was it. That was pure silence, man. Like I couldn't.
Really?
People couldn't believe it because that was the first loss she ever took in MMA, Johanna, right? And like,
that's
it was a silent arena, but it was a cool moment to witness. And the Bisping and St. Pierre fight, that was
so good. It was so good.
Yeah, it was a great fight. I mean,
so good.
Both those men put on an awesome fight. Like Bisping he's tough, man. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, and he's a weight class above George. Like that's not George's normal weight class.
No, exactly.
And he fights welterweight.
George's fights welterweight, yeah. And George's came like 4 years after his previous fight.
He retired. He
was temporarily retired. Yeah, he fought Johnny Hendricks, and he relinquished his belt. And
he got wrecked though by Hendricks. He got destroyed.
I don't know. It was a close fight.
He won, but he took so much damage.
Yeah, his eye was really messed up.
You see the press fight conference? GSP had all these welts and swelling and bruises, and Hendricks looked normal, like a normal guy.
Yeah, I know.
He looked like nothing happened to him.
It was a great fight.
And I was like, George won that after looking like that after the fact? I was like, wow.
You know what, man? That's just a testament to show you that this guy is a warrior.
But Hendricks tested positive.
For
steroids or something after, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he did.
He did? Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let me look it up. I'm pretty sure he did.
I know like Hendricks was having trouble making weight and stuff for a couple fights later down his career. But he was on a slump after he lost to Robbie Lawler the second time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he beat Robbie Lawler. After that fight, actually, Robbie and him fought for the vacant belt. And I think Hendricks won that belt. Then they had a rematch. Then Robbie Lawler won that fight. But yeah, it's crazy. It was a great.
Was that when Lawler went on that run where he was just like dominating?
Yeah.
Until he fought
what's his Tyron Woodley. That
was crazy because Robbie Lawler's been in the game since back in the day.
It's funny,
right?
You know, he was the guy who fought Nick Diaz, and Nick Diaz and him are going to be rematching this September.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
This September.
So
next month.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's like Nick Diaz's first fight since 2015, like 6 years.
Dang, that's
a long
Nick
time.
Diaz.
Yeah, Nick Diaz.
I met him at that expo.
Oh yeah, in Toronto.
Yeah, I met him at I lined up.
That's sweet.
The line for Nick Diaz.
Sick,
take
man.
a picture and shake his hand. He's super chill. He's like this super chill guy.
Diaz brothers, they're badass.
Nate.
Nate too.
Yeah. Nate fought Connor twice, right?
Twice, yeah. The first time he beat him. The second time it was.
The second time Connor barely won though. It was close, wasn't it?
It was
I remember it being close.
It was a majority, yeah. It was a majority decision. Yeah, it was a back and forth fight. Yeah, it was great, man.
Dang.
I think both those guys put on amazing fights.
Yeah.
You know.
So let's make sure we're good. Yeah, the battery died. My bad.
All good.
Bisping, St. Pierre.
Yeah, that was a historic night. My friend and I, we were very, very happy. But we were so glad we went to that fight because I don't think ever since then we've seen anything as historic in terms of fights.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there have been some great fights, but like that was it. That was the trip worth going for to the
Well,
guard.
that was huge. It was GSP coming back out of retirement, right?
It was coming out of retirement and eventually going to retirement again.
Oh yeah, he retired right after. Right?
Yeah, that was his last fight ever in MMA, or in his career, like his combat sports career, to this date at least.
Did you hear what happened though? He had that colitis issue or something.
Yeah, it was basically like, I don't know the nitty gritty of it, but he masked up a lot for that fight. He looked huge, like even sitting up in the stands, you could say that like he put on muscle real fast. Like he was huge, and, like it looked spectacular. I mean, regardless, he's really hitting Bisping.
Yeah.
That fight, and they were trading back and forth. But yeah, it's too bad. But he had a very good career as a combat sports mixed martial artist, if you would say. I mean,
but they fought at middleweight.
It was a middleweight fight.
But he was normally a welterweight.
He was a welterweight. You had to mass up for that fight.
Welterweight is 170?
Yeah.
What's middleweight?
Middleweight's 185.
Oh, that's a big difference.
From what I've seen in the UFC, like with the vlog series and stuff, a lot of these fighters in the middleweight, they walk at like 200, 225. They cut down to 185. And some of these guys at like welterweight, they're like 200. They come down to 170. Yeah, that's 30 pounds, man. Give or take. Losing in each, you got to cut 30 pounds,
That's a lot.
It's tough. It's tough work. So I really respect the sport, and that's why I enjoy watching it as a spectator. I don't really practice or anything, but yeah.
I would love to. I have an interest in, eventually one day I want to learn jiu-jitsu or take classes.
Jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Yeah, because like I always have this thought that if I ever encountered a physical altercation with a stranger, I have no experience in fighting people. I wouldn't know how to defend myself. I wouldn't know what to do, right? I would feel completely hopeless.
Yeah.
Right? But with jiu-jitsu, you sort of gain this understanding of that even if like a bigger man comes after you, if you know jiu-jitsu, you can kind of subdue them and submit them and control them, right?
Exactly.
Like I have no interest in like knocking people out. It's not something that I like to do. I like to watch it.
Yeah.
Right, but I have no interest in like hitting the bag or learning how to kickbox. I don't know, it just doesn't resonate with me. But I would love to learn like maybe jiu-jitsu to know that if some big dude ever came after me, I could feel confident in sort of defending myself.
Yeah.
Right? If that makes any sense.
No, 100%.
But at the same time, you need to commit to that.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, yeah, I'll do jiu-jitsu classes once a month.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that's not going to work.
No, I mean,
right?
For jiu-jitsu, like I've taken jiu-jitsu initially before COVID.
Oh, you did? How was it?
It was fun, but then with work and everything, I just couldn't continue. It was a matter of like schedule, right? Conflicts. So I couldn't really attend the evening classes anymore.
Oh, okay.
And the day classes were kind of hard to attend because I had flying lessons and stuff. So
man, you're a busy dude.
Yeah, but no, it was fun while I did it. Hopefully, I'd like to go back into it again someday, or maybe just back into Muay Thai or Krav Maga. I've done Krav Maga and some Muay Thai before.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Muay Thai's cool.
Muay Thai's fun.
I've watched Muay Thai fights live in Thailand.
Okay.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I saw like a bout between 2 8-year-olds.
Oh wow.
And one got knocked out with a leg kick.
Oh, geez.
Like to his temple.
Yeah.
Like he got kicked in the side of the head and got knocked out. Like an 8-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there in like the second row. Because it's so cheap.
Yeah.
After you convert our currency to the Thai baht, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I can't watch this. Like, I can watch adults beat the shit out of each other, but I can't watch little kids do this. This is like disheartening, right? I was
warriors.
Like, man, this is rough.
Yeah.
But for them, it's just normally part of their culture, right? It's just part of being in Thailand, right? And of course, I have to respect that. But I was like, I was there watching it. I was like, oh my gosh.
Tooth and nail.
Dude, this little kid just got TKO'd. Like this little child.
That's insane, man. That's
right?
insane.
But I don't know. It was really fun to watch because it's sort of they have this sort of appreciation for the fighters, where it's it's ingrained in their way of living. And there's like this weird dance that they do. I'm not entirely sure what it means, but it's sort of like they play this music and they do this strange dance in the ring. And then they sort of like pay respect to their opponent. Now, I don't really know what that means, but it's sort of like this cultural thing and tradition where all the fighters did.
Yeah.
They did this dance, they sort of like bowed to their opponent, paid respect, right? And they hugged and dapped each other up and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, this is cool because it's ingrained in the culture and it's something that everyone respects, right? So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like when the little kids came out, I was like, oh man. I was like, I don't know, man. This is I don't know if I could do this. This is rough, right?
It's rough, yeah.
But this is normal for their way of living, right? So who am I to judge?
Yeah.
Right? It's not my place to judge, right? So I was just trying to enjoy it the best I could, but it wasn't easy to watch, man.
Oh, man.
It was,
For sure.
It's so crazy.
Take a beating for a living. That's tough. Especially when you're an 8-year-old.
Yeah, like they're doing like full-blown like wheel kicks and high kicks and knees and elbows.
And
right?
they weren't even wearing any sort of protection, were they?
No,
it was
nothing.
just full
There's
on.
nothing. They just wear the trunks.
And
they wrap their feet with that white,
like sports tape.
yeah, what is that? That just keeps it tight?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know what that is.
I guess it protects your ankles, maybe. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. So they wrap their foot.
Yeah.
And I think, I can't remember did they wrap their hands? I can't remember.
They should. A
think
lot of them wear gloves and stuff.
I think they had.
Right?
Oh man, my memory is so fuzzy because it's been a while.
Yeah, So when you went to Thailand, did you just visit like Bangkok and all the other cities?
Yeah, we did. We had like an Asian trip.
Okay.
Asia trip. We went to China, Japan, South Korea, and Thailand.
Sorry.
Over like 3.5 weeks.
3.5 weeks. Wow. How was South Korea? Because that's a place I would really like to visit.
South Korea was very cool. It was, if you're into the whole K-pop scene or women's cosmetics, that's like really big there.
Yeah.
Or like the gaming scene, like
Okay.
StarCraft, which was something that resonated with
That's
me.
for you.
They're big on that.
Yeah.
I do enjoy K-pop music every once in a while. But what was big for me was the food. I love Korean
Me too.
food. I love Korean food. All the
Bulgogi.
and the kamjatang,
Yep.
the pork bone soup, and the japchae, the
Yep.
noodles, the sweet potato noodles with the mushrooms.
So hungry
just
now.
their food is so good.
Yeah.
And that was the best part for me of South Korea, is just experiencing like the authentic food. And even like the Korean fried chicken.
Yeah.
Like, you can get Korean fried chicken here in Etobicoke, in the Koreatown down by Dundas and
Islington?
no, it's more west. It's closer to Mississauga. But whatever, you can get Korean fried chicken here.
Okay.
But there,
I tried it.
they throw the whole chicken in the deep fryer. You get like the head, you get
Like
the
the full
neck.
chicken. Oh, wow.
I had like a piece. It was like this long tube. I was like, "What is this?"
Do they coat it in ramen and they fry it, or? Because I've tried that. That's delicious.
The place I went to, no. But I've done the place where they had like noodles with the ramen and the cheese and all that. Oh, it's just, dude, Korean food is so good.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a person that enjoys spicy food.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You like spicy food.
I like spice,
right?
man. Yeah.
Wait, what's your background?
I'm Indian. From the south, Kerala.
South Indian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're into like the whole curries and spicy curries.
I
type of
eat
stuff.
those. Yeah.
So spice for you is no problem.
No problem. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Korean food is great because there's like that really spicy flavor
Yeah.
that you get out of the food, right? But some people don't like that type of stuff, right?
No, for sure. Spice is in some people's cup of tea. But for me, yeah, I love that food.
Yeah,
Korean food is the best.
that's like my wife Tina. She's kind of no on the spice.
Yeah.
But for me, I gotta have it with every meal, or else I feel like the food is bland.
Yeah, I mean, I could say yes and no because sometimes you can't really have spice. Because like when I eat like French cuisine, you can't really throw anything spicy in there.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess it depends on the dish too, right?
You know, yeah.
It depends, yeah.
Like beef bourguignon, beef burgundy in English. That's like,
Beef burgundy.
yeah, it's a great dish.
Beef burgundy.
Yeah, bourguignon. It's a great dish. Like I made it twice, actually for my mom on Mother's Day. Yeah, that's a dish you don't really want any spice in it. It's basically like tenderloin beef cooked in like slow cooked in like red wine, some brandy. I added bay leaves, carrots, some
Oh wow.
onions, potatoes.
So you're seriously into cooking then?
I enjoy cooking. I like exploring different restaurants within the city and reading cookbooks and watching Chef's Table on Netflix and any of Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown series.
Oh yeah, I remember you told me you're big on Bourdain.
Yeah.
I'm so sad about that guy, you know?
Yeah, it is very, very unfortunate. This guy was such a great character and the world was always a better place with his voice and, just his wit. I really watch his shows to kind of reminisce his memory on this planet. He was a great guy.
Yeah.
Like I remember he did a special on Montreal, I believe. It was Montreal and Quebec. Well, it was a restaurant called Joe Beef, which
Joe Beef. Yeah, I know Joe Beef.
I'm gonna get into it because of him. I visited that restaurant last weekend in Montreal. I went there with a friend of mine over the last weekend. Yeah, it was a great restaurant. It's a little place located in Le Petit Bourgogne, Little Burgundy.
Whoa, that accent, bro. It's spot on.
It's not that great. I'm still trying to work on it, but no, it's a great restaurant. It was opened up by Alison Cunningham, Fred Moran, and what's his other name? There's three of them. David McMillan.
Okay.
Yeah, they opened it up in 2005 in a spot on Rue Notre Dame West, which was formerly owned by Cafe Miguel. Apparently, the owner of that cafe was a troll.
A troll, like an internet troll?
No, like a troll, like to the people. That's what the legend is. That's what I read from.
Oh, so he's like a dick.
He was.
Wow.
And I think eventually, due to his misfortune, it became their luck. And they bought the spot, and ever since 2005, Joe Beef was an inception over there, and it's been ravishing some great reviews. Personally, for me, like when I visited, I liked the ambiance. The people, the staff was very hospitable, and the food was great, but I would say it is extraneously overpriced, if I were being honest.
Oh yeah? It's really expensive?
Yeah, if I'm being really honest, but it's worth the experience. Yeah. Well, the things I didn't like about it was we ordered this main dish. It's called a pan-seared duck. It was cooked in like hand-picked.
Pan-seared?
Yeah, it was pan-seared.
Pan-seared, okay.
Duck.
Yeah, pan-seared duck.
For me, I didn't expect the duck to be cooked as rare. It was quite rare for me. And like even if you wanted the kitchen to do it more well done, like the outer part of the duck was very well charred already. If you would have asked them to cook it more, it would have been more well done. It would have been like rubber. So I don't know. It didn't really speak to me. But they had another dish called the demi poulet avec champignon and like sweet corn. It was like basically half chicken with hand-picked mushrooms from the forests of Quebec and sweet corn. Maïs doux, which is sweet corn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a great dish. That was like one of the best mains they had. And would I go back there for that one? Yes, I would.
Oh, you would go back for that?
I would go back there for
but
the
not
main.
the duck.
Not the duck, no. But yeah, even like they had these thing called the shoquettes. It's like these little mini croquettes with smoked eel. It was quite delicious. But at one point, before even ordering those appetizers, like the server, she came up to us and she asked me, oh, would you like one of those with a bit of caviar? And I've never tried caviar before. This was the first time I tried it. So I got some with caviar, and like each of those shoquettes were like $9.50. But as soon as they add like not even a teaspoon of caviar, it's like $30 just for one.
Oh, yeah. Dang.
If I were being honest about the bill, for two of us, it was like $233.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
But it's the experience though too.
It was a great experience. I mean, like, who can say they've been to Joe Beef And not only that, like I lucked out on getting us a table there because that night, July the 31st, there were 800 people on the waiting list for reservations and
800
800
for
and
one night.
yeah.
What?
And
That's
like
crazy.
I was lucky, I just got one of the spots that was left. Like as soon as I got an email notification from Resi, that's where you make the reservations online. I just went right on it. I was at work at the time. I was driving. I was like, oh, email notification from Resi. Joe Beef might have opened up a spot. I pulled to the side of the road, booked my spot, and we got it. You know, it was great. It was yeah, that restaurant is a great restaurant. You know, it's worth visiting, and that neighborhood, Little Burgundy, it was formerly very industrialized. It's home to the Canadian Railway.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the tracks are there, and it's right beside the Lachine Canal. It's a great neighborhood, very hip, and very, as they say in French, bon vivant. Like they love to live there. They're
Dang,
having a
bro.
good time, and yeah, it was a great visit, and like those are some things that I miss about my time when I was living there. You know, like things like that, and those.
Wait,
little-
when did you live there? What year?
2018, 2019.
For a year.
For 2 years almost.
2 years. But
yeah,
you were
yeah.
studying the aviation stuff.
Yeah, I was studying and I worked there as
Oh,
well.
okay.
So
Wait,
no-
but then can you speak French?
a little bit because I took it in university.
Oh, okay.
I'm not as fluent as I'd like to be, but I'm working on it. It's a work in progress.
Mhm. Can you understand, like, when locals speak? Can you understand what they're saying? Or?
Yes and no. Depends on how fast they speak. Sometimes some of them speak very fast. I'll
too
be
fast
like,
and you
whoa,
can't-
just
yeah.
slow down. You
Yeah,
know, I
yeah,
have to
yeah.
listen to it twice, and I would have to, yeah, ask them and reiterate their phrases. And yeah, I mean, there are some things I miss about living there, but some things are better here too. You know, pros and cons to both places.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
Yeah.
you experience, like, the French-Canadian culture, which is probably really nice, right?
It's cool, yeah, for sure. Like, no, for them, I would say between here and there, especially post-pandemic, well, right now, from what I see is, it's just my experience. I'm not speaking for everybody else, but like, I see people really happier there than they are here.
Happier in Montreal than Toronto.
Yeah, people are just
Oh.
happy to be out. You know, they don't seem frustrated. They're just all about having a good time, you know. Whereas here, I've seen like there are some good people. There are good people here too. I mean, I don't want to give anyone a bad name or anything, but like, I would say people are more frustrated here.
Yeah, you know, people in Toronto kind of, like, sick of the whole pandemic stuff, right? They kind of
Yeah.
just want to go back to normal.
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
been what? How long?
Almost 2 years. Yeah,
Almost
that's
2 years
crazy.
now, right?
Yeah,
Of all this lockdown stuff, and kids can't go to school and work from home and
Work from home.
quarantine
yeah,
and, like, stay at home orders. Like,
yeah.
it's like, I get it, man. Like, at a certain point, like, people just want to live their lives.
Yeah.
Right? You just
Yeah.
kind of just want to live. Like, in the beginning, okay, quarantine, you know, there's a pandemic, there's a virus. You want to be responsible, you know, you want to make a good decision. Like, of course, people get that.
Yeah.
But when it's 2 years later and the government's still telling you to lock down and people are just fed up, like, I totally understand.
100%.
Right? Especially parents, too, that have kids,
I can
that
empathize.
they need their kids to go back to school.
Yeah.
Because you can't afford to pay for a babysitter
Mhm.
while you're at work. You know, that's
Exactly.
so expensive.
Yeah.
Right? That's part of the reason why, like, I only work part-time so I can take care of my daughter in the morning, because I can't afford to pay someone to watch her while both me and
It's
my
expensive.
wife are at work.
Daycare is
Yeah.
expensive here.
There's no way, man. It just doesn't work. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but at the same time, it's like, what do? I don't have the answers. I don't know what we should do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure our government, they're just trying to do the best that they can, right? They probably have no idea what to do next, right?
Yeah,
There's all these, like, variants and Delta variants and people that refuse vaccines and people that get vaccines, and it's just like the whole thing's a complete disaster.
It is, yeah.
Right? And it's like, it doesn't matter what the government does or what they say, they're never going to please everybody.
No, for sure.
Right? There's always going to be an outlier or someone that doesn't agree.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a murky situation that unfortunately we're kind of just stuck in. Right?
Mhm.
And then what can you do? All you can do is make the best possible decision you can for yourself.
Yeah.
And, as a parent, fortunate enough for me, my daughter's still too young to go to school, so I don't have to deal with all that type of stuff. But
Yeah.
what if you're a person that has like, a well-paying corporate 9 to 5 job, but you need your daughter to go back to school,
Yeah.
right? To kind of pursue your career, because your career and your income supports your family. It pays for your mortgage. It puts food on the table for your children.
Mm-hmm.
It pays for the extracurricular activities and their clothes and stuff. Like, what are those people gonna do if you say, "Oh no, schools are closed"? They're gonna be outraged, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, man, like I understand the frustration that people have in Toronto. Like I get it. I completely get it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know who has the answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Nobody has the answers out there. It's tough, man. It is.
I feel like it's something we have to learn as we kind of go along.
Yeah.
Especially the variant stuff. But what I'm very concerned for is when winter comes back around.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Right?
For me, it's the same concern because for like what I know, it's like in the wintertime you have less sunlight. Your immune system is a lot weaker because of that lack of sun as well. A lot of factors, but if your immune system is weaker, you're more susceptible to getting a cold or a cough or
Yeah.
whatever. You can see numbers booming again. And I don't know, for me personally, I don't think the answer is shutting down or doing whatever they did previously, because that just puts a lot of the private business owners, like restaurant owners, in a hole, because they've worked so hard to keep themselves up, and it sucks, and I hope they stay open, God forbid.
You got to let those people make a living.
You got 'em, man.
If you force those small restaurant and business owners to close, you got to give them money. You got to do something. You can't just let them hang out to dry.
Yeah.
Like I talked to a guy at our work. Like in all honesty, he was probably 70, like a 70-year-old dude, and he
Yeah.
was like a new D3 driver. So
Yeah.
one of those drivers that kind of sign up as sort of like an Uber driver type of deal.
Yeah.
Where they can kind of work where they want. And he told me that he had a restaurant for like 35 years.
Yeah.
And he was forced to close it.
Oh, wow.
Because
It's so sad.
it wasn't deemed an essential service.
Oh my God.
Right? So then he came to FedEx to deliver some boxes so that he can get money to continue to pay for his mortgage or whatever.
That is so sad.
Because the government said, you can't open your restaurant. So this guy, who's probably like late 60s, early 70s, full head of white hair, is
Yeah.
working with us, delivering boxes because he has no other choice in life, just
That's
because the
tough.
government determined his business was not essential.
Yeah, it's just...
Right? So then I feel so bad for people like that. Like that guy probably worked hard his entire life.
Yeah.
Right? Worked hard, put in the hours, slaving away in the kitchen, built like a business with
Yeah.
his family,
Yeah.
right? Serving food to the people of
Yeah.
the city. And then boom, the government tells you have to close.
Exactly, yeah.
So like, what is he supposed to do? Right? And I was just like thinking like, man, it's hard because all these things, they don't affect me. Because fortunately for me and you, we work at a company where our work is deemed an essential service.
Yeah.
So throughout the pandemic, we were able to keep working. We were able to keep making money and keep having income to pay our bills. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't care about the people that aren't in our situation, right?
Mhm.
Like, what about all these other people out there that are like service staff that worked at a bar, or
Yeah.
they, you know what I mean, or worked at a restaurant as like a server or a waiter? You know those people that you meet that have been like, they've been dining tables for 30 years.
Yep.
They've been living
Long
off
time.
tips.
Yep.
Like, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah,
Right?
that's the
It's
thing.
like, it's very hard, and I feel for those people, because if I was in their situation and someone was telling me I can't work to make a living in order to feed and support my family, I'd go crazy.
Yeah.
Right? I would just like lose my mind. So if we go back into that situation where the government kind of says everything has to close, only essential services, like you better be throwing out a lifeline to those people, like, because it's so crazy that people can't make a living, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't know what else we can do. Like it's so depressing, man.
It is.
It's so sad, right?
It was tough, last winter. It's just like you go to work and you go home. You can't even go out, see your friends, or socialize, or do anything.
Yeah.
It was very depressing.
Yeah, and even that conversation I had with that old guy, he was saying like, "Oh yeah, it's a long day for me. Put in 10 hours." I was like, "Oh dang, that's a long day for you, man. I haven't seen you around. You new here?" And then he kind of like opened up and told me his story.
Yeah.
I was like, "Holy shit! You got a 70-year-old guy out there like for like 9 hours delivering boxes."
Wow. Godspeed.
I'm just like, oh man, I wish like, can we find a way to let that guy open up his restaurant?
Yeah, yeah.
Like if he has an outdoor patio or people wear masks or whatever, right?
Or just takeout service.
Yeah, or takeout or something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's
not essential. You're not essential, right?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I don't know. God forbid anything happens this time around. I just hope they stay the way they are. You know, I don't want anything to close again.
Yeah,
It's gonna be frustrating.
At the same time, you want to respect the people that have lost loved ones to COVID too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that are like, man, this COVID disease is so serious. You know, I lost a father, I lost a mother. You know, and all you people out there that don't take this seriously or a disgrace because we're losing loved ones. Like, you know, I get that perspective too as well.
Yeah, there are people out there that are just very crazy. I don't know if you've been to like downtown recently. Well, not like recently.
Like the core.
Yeah, like I would say maybe 3-4 months ago, you would probably see like these people protesting for freedom. Those anti-maskers, these anti-vaxxers. It's something else.
Yeah. You know what? Because I don't have any education on the subject of that type of stuff, I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I don't know what to think about masks. Like I wear it to try to not be an asshole.
Yeah.
Right? If businesses say a mask is required to come in, you know, I'm going to try my best to be as good of a human being as I can.
Yep.
I try to wear my mask. If it makes other people feel better, then I'm all for it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But again, I don't know the science behind it. I don't know if it's real or if it even helps. But like, if it makes other people feel better,
then do it.
then I'm all for it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll do my part, right? But it's like, you know, some people don't feel like that, right? They just they think their freedoms are being infringed upon, right?
Exactly. They feel like they're being controlled. That's exactly.
But at the same time, those people have a point too,
Yeah.
right? Like, what if, like hypothetically speaking, what if the mask does nothing, right? Then what are we doing all this for? Like, what if regardless of how many masks you wear, how much you socially distance, like the virus is just still gonna spread, right? So then maybe those people do have a point.
Yeah, yeah.
But then again, at the same time, how do you determine that's true? How do you verify that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm an idiot, right? I don't know about any of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So at the same time, it's like, I try to respect other people's opinions, but I kind of don't have an opinion on this or I don't have an opinion that I strongly believe because I'm not educated enough on this subject. You know, I don't know anything about medicine. I don't know anything about viruses or viral loads or the safety of masks or vaccines. So I'm just like, you know, I feel kind of lost, and I just try to make the best decision that I can, and try to make a decision that is beneficial for the group as a whole, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's weird though? Like when I talked to my doctor, my doctor was saying, you know, it's probably not safe for you to get the vaccine because of my allergies. I have like severe allergies to like cashews, pistachios.
Oh, really?
Some fish, like wheat, breads.
Yeah.
Like really, but like really bad allergies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I haven't been able to take the flu shot my entire life because I've been allergic to the proteins.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor's like, well, we don't know how your body would react to the vaccine.
Yeah.
So, well, right there, I'm just like, well, shit, what do I do?
Yeah.
Right? Do I take it for the greater good? Do I believe in the science that I don't know anything about? Do I just hope for the best?
Mm-hmm.
But what if it like screws me up?
Yeah.
What if it like ruins my life or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? It's so difficult to make a good decision now.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's just so much information and so many different options and perspectives that you need to weigh.
Yeah.
That, in all honesty, I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. Right? Do I get a vaccine? Do I get a second dose? What I actually did, I end up getting both doses, right?
And you were fine.
And I was fine.
Yeah.
Right? so in hindsight, it ended up being okay. But my mindset was, like, for the greater good, I'll do it. I don't know any better. I'm generally a fairly healthy person. I exercise regularly. I sleep good. I eat good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat like McDonald's and bullshit food all the time.
Exactly.
So I'm like, okay, my immune system is pretty strong. I'm fairly young-ish. Right?
Oh, you are.
So I think I should be okay.
Yeah.
Right? And I took the vaccines and nothing happened to me. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah, God forbid, man.
But now
You're
what? But now what do I do? Like, what do I do to better the society as a whole? I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what to do, right?
Keep delivering podcasts.
Just keep doing podcasts, right?
Keep doing podcasts.
I don't know, man. It's sad because even though like this stuff doesn't affect me on a personal level, like I feel for people, man.
Yeah, no.
I feel for people out there who can't make a living, who can't pay their bills and can't pay their
100%.
rent.
Yeah.
Because like what are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
Right? If you have a restaurant and the government says you're not an essential service, what do? Right? You don't have like a side hustle
Yeah, man.
on Instagram, right? Showing like pictures of your food. Those guys probably just been slaving away in the kitchen making linguine and clams and spaghetti and meatballs and those Italian restaurants. That guy I talked to, he was Italian.
Okay.
Yeah, he had an Italian restaurant, right?
Oh wow. No, it's
man.
even like speaking of Italian restaurants, like I remember before the pandemic, there was this one restaurant called Vesuvio's. It's close to, I believe, it was close to Dundas and Pacific. It was like around the Junction area, Toronto.
Vesuvio's?
Yeah, they made amazing pizza. It was like one of the best pizzas I've ever eaten. I can't remember when. I think the owner, I don't remember his name, but I think he opened up that place in like around the 1960s.
Oh wow!
It was an old restaurant. It was there. It's been there for many years. It's been a staple of that neighborhood.
It's in Toronto.
Yeah, Vesuvio's, not the one in Brampton. I know.
Yeah, the one came up right away. It said Brampton.
No, not that one. This is the one in Toronto.
Oh, Dundas.
Yeah, that one.
3010 Dundas Street West.
That one, yeah. It was great, man. Like
1,000 Google reviews. Holy shit!
Yeah, it was one of the best restaurants ever. Like the sauce was just, sauce on the pizza was just like a family secret.
Dude, it says permanently closed.
Yeah, they closed last year. I'm gonna get to that story. It's just like, yeah, they had the best pizza ever, man. Like I'm so sad that place is gone. Yeah, I think the owner decided to close it down because the lease was about to come up, and with the pandemic and everything, the business was just gonna.
This is it, right? Vesuvio Pizzeria and Spaghetti House.
Yep, that's the one.
Oh, it's so sad, dude. Yeah, permanently closed.
Yeah, I remember that place. Yeah, 63 years. That's what he says. It says right there. It's been there for 63 years.
Oh wow, Toronto Pizzeria Vesuvio permanently closes after 63 years.
Yep.
Sorry, I can't talk again.
It's all right.
I'm getting drunk over here.
It's the alcohol. But yeah, I remember the last day I went there and I waited in line for like 4 hours right on Pacific Avenue.
4 hours?
Yeah, I think it was like...
Outside?
Yeah, there was a long line going all the way, I think, from Pacific to, I think, Quebec Avenue. Like the back street of Quebec Avenue. Somewhere there, yeah. I'm trying to remember exactly. But yeah, it was a long line up and like... Yeah, I waited for 4 hours. And it was nice. Across the restaurant, there was like a little DJ. He lived in like that apartment above the store.
Okay, yeah.
He was DJing and he was playing some music. And it was a cool feeling because people were celebrating the end of an era and they were dancing and they were singing. I remember this one point vividly. He played "I Will Survive," the song.
I Will Survive. Oh, the old school one.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I remember the whole lines just started going crazy for that song, and I was like, "Yeah, this feels very melancholic, if that's the word I want to put." But no, I waited in line for 4 hours that day. I got the best pizza, the best spaghetti carbonara that I've ever tasted, and I won't ever get it again. It's so sad, but it was worth the wait. But, those are little moments that just makes me cherish these little businesses and appreciate it, so
yeah. Like I tried to visit my favorite restaurants
Yeah.
During the pandemic as much as I could,
Yeah.
and I tried to leave like even though like financially like we're still struggling as well. I tried to leave the best possible tip I could, and I just bought takeout.
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, man, if these restaurants were to close, I'd be so sad. Because I have a couple of spots close to here that are like really good food, me and my wife love going there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so during the pandemic, they had takeout only. So I was like, man, I gotta support these places because these are restaurants that I believe in. These are restaurants that I love to go to, and they serve great food. And so I tried to just go there and buy whatever I would normally buy, but then try to leave a good tip.
Good tip. Yeah. Yeah.
But then when I would go there, it's like a ghost town. There's no one there.
It's sad.
It's like heartbreaking, right? And
It is.
like,
It is.
man, like if these places all close, then like what am I doing? I gotta go to McDonald's at Walmart to get dinner. Like what are my options here?
Tough,
if all the local spots close, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because like you want to support those type of places, right?
Of course.
And it's tough, man. It's really sad. So it's just like I don't know what else to do because also those restaurants were like Vietnamese restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
And these are like Vietnamese foods that like I have no idea how to make. I can never make like Vietnamese food. Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff that you can't make at home.
Exactly.
Like you want to kind of go out and you would buy it, right?
Yeah, of
So
course.
of course you want to support them.
Of course.
But it was so depressing.
I could only imagine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. If, I don't know. I'm grateful. Like there was some like actually a lot of places that I like closed. I remember one of them being the Black Hoof, but I think that closed a while back. North 44 that used to be on Yonge and Eglinton. It's owned by Chef Mark McEwen. He owns like Fabrique.
Was that a restaurant?
It's a restaurant. They closed like way before COVID. I think in 2018 July.
Oh, before COVID.
Yeah. But gentrification, gentrification.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I think the lease was up for that restaurant, and I think they're putting like condos there. So gentrification all over Toronto.
Oh, that's another problem in the city.
Yeah, it's kind of erasing a lot of character. But no, that was one of my favorite places. But right now there is one place that I really like. It's on Bayview in Eglinton. It's called Darna Middle Eastern Kitchen. They're pretty good too.
Ooh, Middle Eastern food?
Yeah.
Ooh, what's it called?
Darna, Darna.
Darna
Middle Eastern Kitchen.
Man, I can't spell right now.
It's the alcohol.
Dude, I do not do well on wine. I do not drink wine.
Really?
What's the percentage of this? It's wrecking me.
13.5.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not even much, man.
No, but I'm a lightweight.
Really?
Yeah, I'm extreme lightweight.
Oh, okay.
Like 2 shots, I'm feeling good.
Really?
Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
This is almost done. I'm gonna top it off.
man. Oh, here, darnatoronto.ca.
That's the one, yeah. It's a great resto, man. I recommend
Middle Eastern Kitchen. Oh, wow. What is this? It looks cool.
Yeah, it's like a touch of Lebanese and Iraqi, Palestinian with Israel. It's like that area.
Oh, okay.
They bring all the cuisines together. Very similar. But good food. I would recommend it.
See, this is like
I might go there tonight.
This is one thing that like kind of brings people together is food.
Yeah.
And different ethnic and different types of cuisine, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like this is so important for like society and even for people's mental health,
Yeah.
To like go out to a restaurant with family and friends and have a good time and have a good meal, right? And like explore maybe a type of culture of food that you never would be accustomed to, right?
Yeah.
Like, these are the things that make life great,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Like, man, but like I feel so bad if all these people are forced to like close up shop.
And that is exactly why, with your reasoning, I think that is exactly why they should make it essential. This way people can actually like go out in limited numbers and just stay there and enjoy, rather than being indoors. It's
But
depressing.
even the restaurant business is a hard business to be in.
Yeah.
Because my dad, he was a chef.
Okay.
So he's been through that whole process where at minimum you got to charge triple the price for the food that you buy in order to sell it to sort of even just break even or make a profit.
Mm-hmm.
So like triple.
Yeah.
You got to triple the price. That's how small the profit margins are in the food industry.
I can imagine.
And he always told me, like, don't get into the food industry as a profession. It's so competitive. It's so difficult. It's so hard. And this is why so many restaurants and small businesses go under.
Yeah.
Right? This is not an easy profession.
No, it's not.
It's not like selling coffee where you're making like 300% profit on a small cup of coffee. Right? Like this is not the type of profit margins that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You're dealing with very tiny, minuscule profits for these dishes that you create. But I feel like this is a huge part of Toronto's culture because we're so like multicultural, we're so ethnically diverse, and this is something that like I love about living in Toronto. I don't live in Toronto, but I'm living in Ontario, right? Living in Canada is like you can have Jamaican food, or you can have Chinese food, or Pakistani food, or Italian food. Like you can have whatever you want here.
Exactly.
But like real authentic type of cuisine, right? And man, I love that. I feel like that's so important for like our culture as a country. And to see like these businesses close because they have no other choice.
Yeah.
Right? Because imagine being a business where you're dealing with such tiny, small profit margins. But then you can only have a patio, or you can only have takeout, or you can only have this, or you can only have that. Like there's all these regulations, right?
Yeah.
How are they supposed to survive?
Exactly.
Right?
It's tough, man.
I don't know, dude. That's crazy. That's so hard.
Yeah.
But this menu looks interesting.
It's good food. Like I can tell you, give you a couple of recommendations.
I don't even know what any of this stuff is.
I'll go down or go up.
Salata,
Salata
Bearzi.
Yeah. From there,
Go down.
yeah, go down. Actually, go up one. Up a little bit more. Yeah, that one, the salata darna. That was.
Salata darna.
Yeah, it's like a salad basically with like pickled onions.
What is this?
Beetroots.
Endive, cherry tomatoes, pickled red onions, beetroots, orange slices, red apple, Nabalsi cheese,
Yeah, it's
sumac,
like
and orange date vinaigrette.
I don't know, Nabalsi cheese. It looks like a thicker version of Parmesan, but it's more creamier.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a great salad, but the mains are pretty good too. I would think the lamb chop is pretty good.
Oh, dude, I used to hate lamb when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I did not like the taste of lamb.
their lamb chops.
But it wasn't until later in life I started eating lamb. Oh man, it's delicious.
The lamb chops are good.
Sorry for all the vegetarians. If anyone's listening to this, I'm sorry. I'm not a good human.
What else? I remember trying this one. It's like kofta tahini. That's the one. That's like
tahini.
Yeah, it's like basically sirloin beef cooked in like yogurt and tahini, which is like grounded, like sesame, grounded sesame.
Oh wow!
It's very good.
That's
cooked in like fried onions. Yeah, it's delicious. And the dessert was like a thing called kanafe. It's basically unripened cheese with like pistachios and like rose water.
Oh, you're gonna kill me.
It is so good.
You're gonna kill me. Pistachios.
Yeah.
Am I missing out?
No, you're not. You can ask it for, I think, probably without pistachios because that's what they top it off with. But
dude, it's depressing having allergies. It is horrible. Like this is part of the reason why like I'm very disciplined when it comes to my diet and nutrition.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I sort of don't believe in these sort of diets like keto or carnivore or vegan or paleo. I don't believe in these food restrictive diets.
Yeah.
Because I've had so many food allergies that have already restricted my food.
Yeah.
And this is not by choice. This is something I had no choice over.
Yeah.
Right? So it's horrible. Like it's horrible not being able to try salmon. Or not being able to try
You never tried salmon?
I've tried it, but I'm still allergic to it.
Really?
I get super itchy. I get a rash. I get hives. And it's the same with things like bread or wheat.
You can't eat bread?
Oh, no. If I have like too much oatmeal or too much bread, I get all messed up. I get all itchy. My skin goes all red. Oh, dude, it's just terrible.
And what kind of, like, do you eat any sort of, like, bread or anything in the morning?
Like, so basically what I do is I try not to eat any bread or wheat products when I have a choice. So if I'm at home and I'm making, say, lunch for myself, or my wife is making something for me for dinner, like I try not to eat the bread products. But if I'm going out to someone's house, right? Say if I go to a family member's house and they have, spaghetti and meatballs with like some bread, or they have some type of bread product, then I'll eat it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, it's not just a sign of respect, but it's like, if you're gonna cook a meal for me, and it's not something that's gonna kill me, I'll try my best, to be respectful, and
of course,
I'll have it, I'll indulge in the meal that we're all having and kind of enjoy the situation. But when it's comes to an environment that's completely under my control, it's like no nut products, like no bread, wheat, or oat products. Try to avoid all these different type of things. It ends up being like chicken breast, rice, and green vegetables. It's so boring.
It's very simple.
It's so boring, dude.
Yeah.
But this is like something that's not my choice. This has been restricted from me and taken away from me at birth.
Oh, man.
Right? So when people say things like, oh, you need to try this like keto diet where you don't eat any carbohydrates, I'm like, dude, I want to eat blueberries or kiwis because I can't eat these other things, right? I'm so restricted, right? And so I want to be able to eat everything that I can eat. So it's just like, oh, it's so hard. It's so hard for me.
Yeah.
Because, like a lot of people can relate to this. Like I love food. I love the idea of food. Of just like having a meal with a bunch of friends or family members that you love and just, talking and having a good dinner with some good drinks. Like that's a huge part of life. It's so enjoyable,
of course,
right?
I agree.
Even just this right now, like having a podcast. We're just like
having
talking shit.
With some wine and cheese.
Right?
That's
having
great.
wine, eating cheese and crackers is great.
It's simple, yeah.
Right? Like I probably shouldn't eat those crackers. There's probably wheat in there or something, right?
Yeah.
But whatever, Yeah.
Like
you're here, so we're gonna do it, right?
Yeah, have fun, man.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like allergies sucks. It sucks.
No, I feel for you, man.
It sucks. Do you have any allergies?
Fortunately, no.
Oh, you're so lucky, man.
I'm fortunate. I don't know. There might be something There might be something out there that I don't like, but I haven't discovered that yet. But no, I've been pretty good so far. Thank God.
You know what's weird though? No one in my family has allergies.
It's just you.
I'm an outlier.
You're an outlier.
My parents, nothing.
Really?
My brother, nothing.
Wow.
I'm like, why do I get all this craziness? Like when I grew up, it was all nuts. Can't eat any nuts. Can't eat any seafood. Can't eat any dairy. Like nothing. It was really bad. And it wasn't until I was like, I think it was 31 is when I ate my very first like fried egg.
Really?
Eat like eggs like over easy.
Yeah.
Or like scrambled.
Yeah.
31 years old.
That's when you ate your first egg.
First time. Yeah.
Wow.
I ate it and it tasted like sand because my palate wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you guys eating these eggs? This is disgusting. Like, what are you guys eating? It's gross.
Do you eat bacon?
Bacon?
Yeah.
Sometimes. It's like, I know it's like not good for you, man. Like
it's fatty, but it's delicious.
Like, you can't deny that bacon tastes good.
Oh yeah, it is
right?
The best.
But it's just like, I'm so health conscious. I try to like
stray away from that.
Try to stay away from the best I can. But yeah, bacon is like delicious, right?
Oh,
but like eating eggs for the first time was like,
have you ever?
What is this? It's crazy.
Have you ever tried like eggs Benedict, which is basically
eggs
like,
is that when it's poached?
Poached eggs,
it's poached, right?
It's poached, and they put like hollandaise sauce on top. Sometimes it's served with like.
Is it a yellow sauce?
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You see it at breakfast
I've
places.
had it maybe like once, I think.
Yeah, what did you think? Did you like it?
I was indifferent.
You were indifferent.
I didn't like it, I didn't hate it. It was just okay.
It was okay.
So you got to remember, like, imagine living your life for 30 years and never eating eggs. But then eating it
when you're 31.
Like the allergy went away.
Okay.
And then I tried it, but because I'm not used to the taste, it just tasted off.
Oh,
it just didn't. Like my tongue wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I didn't know any of the terminology.
Yeah.
I didn't like scrambled, over easy, sunny side up, poached, hard boiled. Like I'm like, what? Like I've never tried any of those things. Like none of them, right? So I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I'm so confused in my mind. But then everyone loves these type of foods, and I'm eating it, and it tastes like shit.
Mm-hmm.
right?
I feel
And so I was like, oh. But it's funny because over time, my palate kind of got used to it, and eggs are delicious, right?
Now you like them.
Yeah. And also, they're nutritious too,
They're
right?
nutritious. Yeah.
So, and it's like at work. I worked with someone where she lived on a farm, and she had like a chicken house or a coop.
Yeah.
But there was no rooster in the house. So her chickens, they just laid eggs every day.
Wow.
But these were eggs that were not fertile,
Yeah.
right? Because there's no rooster or whatever. So they just kept laying eggs. So it's just basically food that's not gonna turn into a living chicken.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess, if you're like, I guess, like a vegan or someone that's, animal rights activist, this is something that doesn't harm animals. They lay the chicken regardless because there's no rooster in the house.
Yeah.
Or at least that's how it was explained to me. And she just had all these eggs and would sell them to us at work for like $5 or $4.
Really?
Yeah. And they were like, what do you call it? Like free range?
Free range eggs.
Yeah, free range.
Yeah. I've seen those.
I would take it home and I crack an egg. And then like the yolk, it's like a dark orange.
Okay.
And I was like, what the heck? Like, why does it look so different?
Yeah.
Because the eggs you buy in the grocery store, it's like a bright pale yellow.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the? It's like weird, right? It's like different.
Okay.
And I never knew that because again, this is coming from a person that knows nothing about eggs. I have no understanding of any egg dishes or terminology whatsoever, right? And I'm like, what is this? And I started like researching stuff about like factory farm chickens and how the yolk, it just looks different, and it's just all this like terrible stuff of how chickens are treated. I'm just like, oh my god, this is terrible. Right? I'm just like feeling so bad, right?
Yeah.
But then, I started like getting into eating eggs like regularly.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I understood what everyone else was saying. Like it just, dude, like the taste, and sometimes when the yolk is cooked perfectly and it's sort of a little bit runny and it just adds all this flavor and it's just so good.
Yeah.
Now it's just, I love eggs.
It's
it's
something
just
you can't
so
live
good.
without.
Yeah, it's just so good, right?
I mean, that's good. I'm glad you discovered something new.
Yeah.
And it's delicious. I can't deny it. It's a great thing to have for breakfast.
Correct. Yeah.
For me, it's I make scrambled eggs with like bacon jam, which is basically like bacon cooked in like sautéed onions. I put some brown sugar, bit of maple syrup, coffee powder, and
Coffee powder. What's that?
like instant coffee.
Oh, like instant coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And I use like balsamic vinegar. It's so good. Bacon jam with scrambled eggs on like rye toast. It's to die for. Yeah.
See, you're like a foodie.
I like food.
You're like see, this is something like I feel like all human beings can relate to, like food, right?
Yeah.
It's such like a wonderful thing that we have like in the world, right? Oh, it's just so good.
That's the main reason why I went to Montreal last week, and I will go to Europe next year.
Oh, what parts of Europe do you want to go to?
I'm hoping to go to France and Denmark. I got tickets booked to France, Paris already. So I got a couple friends in Paris, so I'm gonna go stop there and visit them.
Why Denmark?
It's one of the happiest countries on the happiness report, according to the UN, I believe. It's the fourth most happiest country in the world. So I'm very intrigued as to why they're happy. Well, I think they're content because they have a different system than we do, and I want to go see what it is that makes them very happy, or in other words, content.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm really interested in visiting those places.
Well, those Scandinavian countries, they got it like figured out, right? Like Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Norway,
Yeah.
that whole area, right?
Yeah, they have a pretty good system there, like similar to like France and Denmark. They both have like paid universities, like education's paid for basically. But it depends on the university you want to go to. There are some universities where you have to pay out of your pocket as well. In France also, like that being the case. But I know there they pay a pretty high tax bracket.
In France?
France and Denmark both.
Oh, okay.
They do pay a lot more, but at the same time,
You get more.
You get more. You get a free education. You're set up for life. you know, like, well, I don't want to say set up for life, but, you know, you're not really lost, you know. People find themselves more easily than they do here. You know, here it's a lot harder.
I feel like that's a better system. Like,
It is.
If university was free, then you could go and try something, and if it doesn't work out for you, and you like end up dropping out, you don't have all this debt,
Exactly.
right? So you don't get punished for making like a bad decision.
Exactly.
I feel like that's a better system than what we
It
have.
is. I feel like it works more for them. That's why they're probably more content. Their healthcare system is good. Not saying that we don't have anything here, but like, I'm sure people could learn.
Yeah.
You know? I know in Quebec, from what I've heard with my friends over there, they've said they've had to wait in line for like 3 or 4 hours just to see a doctor in certain instances.
Oh, that's not good.
Whereas here it's more immediate, you know. It's
Yeah.
just like you can go see somebody. And it's harder to even find a family doctor there than it is here. So, I mean, there's things we could always learn from the Scandinavian countries, but I don't know. It's all a matter of the government wanting to learn, right?
Yeah, I think it's also like countries always need to be willing to adapt and change.
Yep.
Like if there's something better out there, you should pursue it.
Exactly.
Like you shouldn't be stuck in your ways. Like this is the Canadian way or this is the American way of doing things, and this is how we do it. So we're not going to change. I think that's the big mistake.
Exactly.
Is when you're not willing to change when you find a better way of doing something.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So like people always talk about Canadian healthcare. Is it perfect? No.
No.
Of course not.
Yeah.
But if you fall off your bike and you break your leg and you need an ambulance, do you have to pay $1,000 for that ambulance? No.
Not like the USA.
Not
no.
like the US, right?
Yeah.
So
we're fortunate.
Yeah, so it's something that you should be appreciative of.
Yep.
Right? But again, is it a perfect system? No, it's not.
There's always going to be
Can we do better? Right? Maybe we can learn something from the Nordic countries. Who knows, right? Like I don't know. Or maybe we can even learn something about from the US when it comes to like privatized healthcare. Because I've heard things like when people have like major surgeries, they tend to go to the US because they have like better specialists, and Canadians have better general healthcare. Like I don't know if that's true, but I've heard some people tell me that like they had really bad ACL tears or Achilles tendon tears, and they always say like the best specialists are in the US. And I was like, well, I guess that makes sense because U.S. money talks, right? If you want the best doctor, you got to pay for it. So you're incentivized. So you end up getting the cream of the crop there, right? So kind of get it. But at the same time, you know, I hope the Canadian government is like constantly trying to evolve and improve and get better, right?
Yeah.
Because, dude, we paid more than enough in taxes, man.
I know for our paychecks, definitely.
Oh my god.
Every week. It's crazy. Yeah.
I know. It's like it's not cheap. And this is why like especially if there's any like young people out there that's watching this, like I always preach to people that are younger to me to learn about like money, to learn about personal finance, 100%. To be like responsible financially when it comes to you know, your savings and how to spend money and how to save it. Like it's such a huge skill that you just don't get taught in school. Like in school, you get taught how to add money and subtract money,
divide,
debits
multiply.
and credits, but you don't learn like how to invest or an RSP or a savings account or a retirement account or an investment account or like an education fund.
Yeah.
Like no one teaches you these things, right? This is absent from high school education, right? And I think these are all things that are extremely important. Even like when you get a house or like a mortgage, no one teaches you about property taxes or how much you have to pay or a land transfer your tax you have to pay when you switch homes. Like there's all these crazy things when it comes to money that you're not educated on in school that I think are extremely important, right?
Yeah.
And like I've learned all these things the hard way. All these things the hard way. No one told me. I didn't know. I have to pay what? I have to pay how much? There's a what tax because I want to move? Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like craziness, right? So I don't know, man. So
I don't know, it's like it's like what Bourdain says all about experiencing that happy accident or something. There's a quote
okay.
It's like you live your life and you learn, you know. You learn all these lessons.
Yeah.
I mean, it always takes an unhappy meal. Sorry, it wasn't happy accident. I'm trying to think what he said. Well, basically he's saying like, if you have an unhappy meal, it'll lead to a happy one, you know, having these unhappy experiences. So, yeah, I think you live and you learn. I think sometimes learning the hard way is the best way because you really take it with a grain of salt in.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like learning the hard way is valuable because it forces you to adapt right away.
Yeah.
Because then you'll learn firsthand not to make that mistake again in the future. You know, it's sort of like when you get ripped off or you get scammed.
Yeah.
It's deep in your mind and you remember that memory so vividly. Like, I'm never going to do that mistake again.
Never,
right?
Yeah.
And you learn so quickly, right? But at the same time, I think there's a lot of value in learning from other people's mistakes too as well, right?
Exactly.
And this is why I sort of like talking about like my past and, you know, things that I've done in life and kind of like regrets of not going to school and the consequences that have paid for me later in life. Whereas like, because I didn't go to school, because I didn't go to university, my options as a job in the workforce is, you know, driving a truck. That's what it is. Take it or leave it. Like that, those are your options. I didn't finish, you know, a degree. I didn't finish a diploma or a college. So there's no other options for me to pursue. So this is what you got.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it, right? So then I have to take it, right? So this is why I end up in the place that I'm at right now. But at the same time, you need to realize like your past actions, they determine your future. And you need to be aware that it's all on you, right? All your past decisions that you make, all the past like fuck ups you make and mistakes you make in life, it's all because of you.
Yeah.
And if you want a better life in the future, then you need to make better decisions now, right? So again, like, I know we always keep coming back to the subject of education, but I think it's like so important for anyone that's younger, you know, younger in the world that's listening to this, because this is great, because this is coming from a perspective of two completely different people, because we've ended up sort of like in the same place in life temporarily. In this moment, we're at the same spot, but we took vastly different routes to get there. Right. But at the same time, our potential for the future is also very different. Like, I'm sure neither of us are going to remain drivers 20 years from now. Of course. Right? Like, we're neither of us are going to be doing this job that we're doing now in the near future.
Exactly.
But at the same time, our options in life are so much different, even though we kind of reach the same midpoint. But then after this, there's going to be so much other different opportunities in our life, right? Which I'm excited for.
Yeah, me too. That's what makes me look forward to waking up every single day and just looking forward to a new challenge. And to kind of paraphrase what Nelson Mandela said, education is one of the most important tools that you can use to like change the world, you know? So for me, I remember this very vividly. Someone at U of T said it to me. Education is not necessarily what you learn inside the classroom, it's what you learn outside. So it's based on like your daily interactions with people, just negotiating, just normal etiquette and forming relationships and bonds. For me, that is education. Like this right now is a kind of education because I'm learning from you about your life experiences, and I'm opening up and sharing mine with you and all the YouTubers, whoever is watching. So
yeah, we bounce ideas off each other, and I learn from you and you learn from me, and it's like a net positive outcome.
Exactly.
Where both of us gain from this situation, right?
Exactly, yeah. So
that's why I think podcasting is important, right? It's a great way to acquire self-education.
Yep.
Right? It's not something you need to pay for or subscribe to.
No.
That has a tuition fee or an entrance fee to get in. It's just free.
Yeah.
And it's out there, right? And you can learn like whatever you want.
Exactly. But yeah, man, it's been great. So yeah.
Well, I think that was awesome, dude. Let's end the podcast there. We killed it. It's almost 5 o'clock.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, man.
All right, dude. Clay, thanks, bro.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for everything.
All right, bro.
Let's end the podcast there. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace. Peace. Oh, dude, that was cool.
Yeah. 5 o'clock on the dot.